Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be for all of you. How do you write? So in this paper, it's hyperprogression. So we're not interested in squamous non-small cell lung cancer randomized phase 3 data. We're not interested in pembro phase 1 study data. This is out of the scope of our paper. You cannot write things that are not related to our paper. Okay? You could be very general that lung cancer immunotherapy has been adopted in the field of lung cancer therapy, period. You don't have to go with specifics to discuss what has been shown in the squamous versus non-squamous. And in the first phase 3 randomized study, you have Nivo and then Pembro. You don't have to say what's different Nivo and Pembro. You don't have to say what's different phase 3 and phase 1. This is very random. There is no reason to select this trial to discuss it here. So same thing. Increase in lung cancer incidence is not important. Our focus is hyperprogression. You're not writing sentences to fill up the space. You're thinking about the logic. What is most important? Because do people know what hyperprogression is? So I want you to write the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I will read.
Down all right, give me the, well, this is doc. I don't have control. Do I? Is this?
I can share it to you, Dr. Che.
Yeah, so that I can scroll it. Give me the link.
I send it to your Gmail.
Put it in the chat box.
Yes, Dr. Che.
Okay, now unshare your screen.
Um, wait, wait.
All right. Zoom. Here. Modified evaluation of hyperprogression. Did we discuss title or not yet?
Not yet, Dr. Che. We haven't,
Yes.
so that's why we haven't put like the finalized one.
What was the title of the abstract that you presented?
Incidence of
Actually, yeah, there are 3 titles for this one manuscript because we divided into 3 abstracts.
What were they?
incidence of the new definition of hyperprogressions, OS and PSF, and the other one is the risk factor.
I mean, yeah.
So you combine all of them, okay? So do we have small cell lung cancer here or no?
I think we just
Get out?
Small cell, we excluded them.
Okay. So this is. So 137 or 121?
121
121 is,
total of the patient, 137 is the total of the regimen. Because some patients have like multiple regimen.
yeah, but it ended up being 136 when I just look at the data. I just deleted one duplicated like record. So it's gonna be 136 for multiple.
Well, we'll leave it at this, but let's. You guys can brainstorm to see if there's any better title.
Yes, Dr. Che.
I wouldn't call hyperprogression adverse effect because people would think this is toxicity. Usually adverse effect is sort of used as such. So I would not use this word. No real measurement. It sounds too colloquial. So we don't say authors. You can say we, because we are writing this paper. So here, this is introduction. It's almost like we're telling the whole story here, that this is why we need a new classification and such. So this has to be saved for later. So here we say just a limitation that's, there's a concern that because RECIST is only measuring target lesion, there's a concern that we're only capturing just a part of the story, part of the phenomenon. And here we propose a new method to better describe, better define hyperprogression in non-small cell lung cancer. And then people are interested to know what it is, and then they find out later. You don't have to say that in the introduction. And then I don't see any abstract. So I usually tell my students, this is writing class 101, write abstract first. You have 3 different abstracts. Combine all of them. Write abstract first. That will tell you how you should write your manuscript. Okay? And this has to, so this study is the whole purpose is not to propose new method. The whole purpose of the manuscript is to describe the incidents in a real world data. And second, it is to show what are the risk factors involved. And then additional, I guess the third component is, can we come up with a better classification? So that's just only 1/3 of what we're discussing. And I don't feel that in the introduction. So introduction has to reflect, what are we interested? Number 1, is hyperprogression real? Is it a real phenomenon? And if it is really happening, what is the real world incidence? We're interested. But maybe it's going to be different by definition. So if we use different definition, will the incident vary? And what is the range that it will vary? You're going to have to discuss all that in the introduction. Number 2, is there any risk factor? It looks like there's been few reported, but there's not been any consensus or a real biological biomarker that can rationally describe the predictiveness of these biomarkers. Can we find that in our own real world data? That's number 2. Number 3, are we really defining the right group of hyperprogression patients? If not, can we come up with a better definition? So that's number 3. So that's what you need to discuss, not phase 3, phase 1 data with Nivo Pembro. Okay? Don't use up space just to fill up the space. Okay? All right, that's introduction. Material and methods. We could not evaluate it. What is it? So it doesn't read smoothly. So I understand what you want to write, but rewrite the whole sentence. Do you want me to take a look at it, or you don't want me to look at it? It looks like you haven't finished it.
Yes,
I
we haven't done
finished
that part yet.
yet, but we will revise from what we heard from you today, and at least the introductions, and maybe combine the abstracts again. Yeah.
Okay, so writing is a real thing. You have to have a logic. You have to put in only the necessary things. And once you have the final draft, so you can always ask me, Dr. Che, I don't know what to write. Well, you can ask people around you, including me, what to write if you don't know what to write. In my mind, things we described in the abstracts are the things that we need to write about. It's very clear. Writing is a serious business. Learning how to write concisely, what word to use, not to use colloquial language, but there are scientific terms that can be used. So study them. The best way to study them is read science article, Nature, NEJM, and study the sentences. What sentences are there? How do they, what verbs are used? What are the connecting sentences look like? So you have to study hard and apply. And when you present, I want you to make sure there is no error in your grammar or spelling, okay? I have zero tolerance for that. So work with your friends, whoever your collaborator, to make sure the writing is okay. I can teach you about science, but I cannot spend time correcting English grammar. That is waste of everyone's time. Okay? And that is same thing. I want to just to make sure when you write email, when you write scientific sentences, make sure it's error proof. Because you will always be judged by your sentences and your logic. Don't just write and send. Proofread. If you're not sure whether the sentence you wrote will make sense, this is all for even for native speakers. If they haven't written any scientific paper, they will make a lot of mistakes. This is not a common daily language you use. So I want you to think seriously about it and spend time and improve. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I think I will try to revise this. And other than this, it's outside the hyperprogression manuscript. It's the journal club that you assign for the presentations.
So I will so I know, so I can, I had people who come and spend 3 months, has not written a single sentence. And every time, how is it going? Like, oh, it's so hard to write paper, Dr. Che. And I've heard that for 3 months and they went back to where they were. So I understand writing paper can be hard. But you have to get to a phase because you're going to work crazy, like Dr. Chion. She's a surgeon, but she makes time to study and write paper. How do you do that? You're gonna work. Here's Dr. Isir Kim. You need to make time to write paper and do research and do case report. But if you, so I want you to all use this time to really improve your writing skill. If you get one full day, 24-hour, it's enough to finish writing a paper, introduction, method, discussion. You can finish all that in one day. 24 hours is all you need. You don't have more than that. That's luxury when you actually work in the hospital. So you have to know how to do referencing, how to make table, how to write introduction methods, and just that should be part of yourself if you are to succeed as a medical researcher. So we understand it's hard, but the speed at which you read and write has to improve greatly. And the other thing is, if you don't publish, someone else will. And the impact of your whatever you did will continue to diminish. And the longer you spend time with your paper, someone else will publish more meaningful papers, and you will just end up citing it because the reviewer will say, well, there's a similar paper, incorporate that into your discussion and all that. You will just end up revising it more and more. The importance of your paper goes down. So once you have abstract sent, that's the time. So I've seen this so many times. People submit abstract and then they forget to write it. My expectation is whoever submit the abstract, finish writing in next month or two. And they get busy. This has happened to with Horin as well. You do abstract and you're under deadline pressure, and then you forget. You forget to follow up. I know your life gets busy, but you have to be persistent. Following up the paper to completion, to manuscript level. And I think that completion rate in our lab, partly due to my negligence, is pretty low. And people move on with their lives because of a lot of things happening, and they never follow up. So it's been a problem that we're all aware of, but I just wanted to emphasize that if you worked on an abstract, I want you to be persistent, take ownership, and carry it to the end. It's very difficult, but that is the very trait that I value the most. And I'm telling you all this because I do value these qualities, and this will all be reflected in wherever you go. Okay, so I will stop emphasizing this and let's move on. Okay, Arnie, what else you have?
You assign one journal for me to search it, right? The cardiotoxicity from immunotherapy. Yeah, I tried to make the presentation. But the journal that you asked me, that Jion asked me to find it, it's only an abstract. I cannot find a full text. I already tried to search it in PubMed, so I only find the abstracts, and I tried to find another 2 or 3 journal with similar like search term. So I will try to share my screen. Okay, so the things that you assign, that I get assigned, is like the journal club is like the PD-L1 inhibitor may increase the risk of pericardial disease in non-small cell lung cancer patient, a meta-analysis and systematic review that published in 4 April 2022. I tried to find the full text, but I cannot find it. So I tried to show you the background, methods, results, and conclusions. After that, I will try to describe more about this topic. So the background of that journal is that fund of PD-1 or L1 inhibitor has changed the landscape for patients with non-small cell lung cancer. Meanwhile,
Okay,
the
okay,
efforts.
wait, stop here. So what was the reason you couldn't get the manuscript? Is it available?
Not available for it's paid one for the full text. I tried to find it.
So Liam and Jisan, can you work on getting the full text and share it on the screen? While she's presenting, I just want to save time.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, I'll look at.
It should be accessible through our Northwestern account.
Oh, okay, because I cannot get it. So
So next time, Arnie, when you present, if you don't get the full manuscript, you ask for help for Dr. Jion, Jisang, Liam.
I asked for Jion actually last week, and Jion told me that it's okay because until now she also find only the abstract. So and she told me that you can try to find the abstract first, and after that you can try to search other 2 or 3 other journals about this topic. If you want, if not, then I will postpone it until next week, and I will try to get the full manuscript first and make the complete one.
No, it's okay. I just want to know if this is searchable through Northwestern or not. You can proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Chi.
Arnie, sorry, can you quickly show us the title one more time? All right, thank you.
Oh, because that is the EPUB state, we can't access. I have tried this thousands of times, but it's the EPUB, so I think it's not accessible with the hacking site, even with this.
So in the Galter library, this is not fetchable? No?
Not yet, not yet.
But Liam double check and see. You can use your account too. That's odd. Okay, go ahead. I don't want to waste time.
Okay. So yeah, and the method is like the Cochrane Central Register of Control Trial, PubMed and Embase, and were searched from inception to February 2001. The result is 18 studies involving 11,394 patients with non-small cell lung cancer were included, and the result is like the PD-1 or L1 inhibitors monotherapy was associated with an increased risk of pericardial effusions with p-value 0.002 and a confidence interval 1.45 until 5.12, and cardiac tamponade with p-value 0.023. Whereas the combined chemotherapy did not increase the risk of pericardial effusions and cardiac tamponade. That's the result. So they conclude that if you use the monotherapy inhibitor, is increase the risk compare the one combined with combined with chemotherapy. This is the graphical abstract that I found from the journal. So the journal only said that the highest one is like the pericardial effusions and the pericardial tamponade. They take from 18 RCT study with these total patients, and they only choose with the comparing between the monotherapy and the combined with chemotherapy. So this is the, wait, let me move it a little bit because I cannot see it. So this is the result. This is all the 18 study, and the result actually it's quite concrete with the p-value 0.5 for the first line monotherapy. It have more impact with pericardial effusions and the incidence like 0.63%. But with second line, I don't think like it have the p-value doesn't show any relations for the second line. For the PD-L1 plus the chemotherapy is the p-value like 0.066. And they also show that if the PD-1 for the anti-PD-1 monotherapy is like if they use pembrolizumab, and the amount of the p-value of this graphic. I cannot search more about this abstract because it's only showing the picture, and I don't think like the picture is quite clear. Also, this is for the cardiac tamponade. For the cardiac tamponade, the monotherapy also like increase. It's like 0.45, but with the chemotherapy, it didn't show any quite correlated because the p-value is only like 0.288 in here. From this journal, the idea they thought that the PD-L1 inhibitor monotherapy increased the risk compared if you combine it with the chemotherapy. So I try to find 2 or 3 journal that have the same topic with this journal, and I got 3 journal that I choose from like that quite new for this topic. The first one is like the immune checkpoint inhibitors and cardiac toxicity in patient treated with for non-small lung cancer, a review published in 29 September 2020, and cardiac toxicity risk factor with immune checkpoint inhibitors published in 11 March 2022. Actually, later I will show you the result. It's quite interesting because there's a little bit different with the first one. So this is the mechanism of the immunotherapy for like they have like 3, I think. Do I need to explain it again, or I should just skip it? For the mechanism of the immunotherapy. So
But this
there
is not related to the cardiac tamponade, correct?
okay. Yeah, this is just like the basic one. So I will just say like the mechanism of the cardiac toxicity. Actually, it's not, I read it in the review one. It's just say like not yet fully understood. But some of them of the paper discuss it that it happens because there is a cardio immune crosstalk, which may cause myocarditis or heart failure, has postulated in some preclinical study. So, like cancer cells in our heart, the cardiomyocytes might also employ the PD and the PDL1 pathway to prevent hyperactivation of T cell in a physiological state. But because we use immunotherapy by releasing tumor suppression of T cell, then the same type of suppression by cardiomyocytes also leading off to hyperactivations of T cells in the heart.
So Arnie, I don't think this is related to our topic.
Okay.
That is myocarditis, which is not pericardial effusion.
Okay,
See,
so
we're talking about 2 different things here.
but I read in the other journal about the side effect of the cardiotoxicity of the immunotherapy. Actually, the first one is myocarditis, and the pericardium is the second one. So yeah,
Myocarditis, are immune toxicity. They
mhm.
are not pericardial effusion. They're not cardiac tamponade. Okay, they're 2 different things. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get it. So it's do you want me to redo it again, or how is
No,
it?
I'm
It's
saying what is the cause of tamponade in your mind? Is it T cell infiltration or is it hyperprogression?
hyperprogression is also can become a cardiac tamponade. Actually, if you I really but I don't know if you want me to make like redo it again for the journal club, I'll be happy to make it again with the more specific about the pericardial one, because I tried to find
I
the
don't think
news.
you're getting the point. The point is not having you prepare journal club. The point is think about why this is happening. So why do you think I made you present this topic? Because we're working on hyperprogression. Hyperprogression is defined as having existing cancer cells become more aggressive and become more growing fast and causing detrimental complications such as cardiac tamponade or pericardial effusion. So lung cancer spreads in the pericardium. When immunotherapy is given, the lung cancer cells can make things leaky. Lung cancer can cause pleural effusion. It can cause ascites. It can cause pericardial effusion. If you give immunotherapy, the pericardial effusion will get larger and cause tamponade. I'm not sure if the mechanism of this phenomenon is same as myocarditis or pericarditis. I think it's different. Okay? That is why I think this topic can be cited in the hyperprogression paper that we just edited. Make sure you describe it in the discussion that this is a newest finding. I'm getting the Dear Doctor letter for every trial that involves any single agent immunotherapy. So this is a big deal. So an investigator like ourselves, we're doing a lot of meta-analysis, like Chuhi is doing one, Eugene's doing one, but Dave chose. This is a really, I want to compliment the authors. So they thought, well, if the hyperprogression is real, what can we ask this question? Is tamponade happening more frequently in immunotherapy only patient versus chemoimmuno patients? And they've showed nicely. So FDA was alarmed. Wow, this is true. This is not, and unless you do meta-analysis, because it's so rare, the incidence is less than 1%. And to show that difference in incidence, you have to combine so many patients in 16 randomized clinical trial, and they've shown it. So I really want to compliment the authors for their effort. And this is how we make progress. People just think about, oh, myocarditis, cardiotoxicity, they know about it, but they don't care about the tamponade and pericardial effusion. And if you look this paper with the lens of hyperprogression, and we've all shown in our own abstract that immunotherapy only and immunochemo are very different. Giving chemo will prevent hyperprogression, and this is what this article has shown. So we need to discuss all this succinctly in our own review paper. And I know our samples size is small. I don't think any of our patients had cardiac tamponade. However, when people ask, is this a T-cell flare or is this hyperprogression? We can say we suspect, or we speculate, that this the recently described phenomenon is very consistent with what we've observed in the field of hyperprogression. The adding chemo will prevent this from happening. And we know when tumor grows fast, people die of cardiac tamponade. I've had many lung cancer patients die of tamponade when their cancer progresses fast. But I never thought that giving pembrolizumab alone frontline would kill them by causing cardiac tamponade. So this is a very serious topic. So the whole point of this journal club is make sure in every hyperprogression related papers that we discuss this phenomenon and interpret it in our own way. You understand?
Yeah, I understand it. Then can I ask, then can I revise it and can I present it for next week? Because I think I got the idea from what you want from this
Well, you don't
presentation.
have to present. I gave you all the ideas. It's okay.
Yep.
So Liam, did you find the full article or is it not searchable?
Yeah, it's not available. Yeah, it's not in the Northwestern Library, and Northwestern doesn't participate in the institutional privileges with this journal.
So what we
Um,
do is for all those journals in the Galter Library, there's a section that you can request the full article.
mhm.
That's how I got most of the full articles from. So you can kind of send them a letter. There's in the Galter Library, there's a part where you request the full text. And they'll get it to you in usually in a couple of days.
Okay.
So I want to see what because it's the full article. If you read the discussion, they will say what the authors think. What's the biological rationale behind this phenomenon?
Okay.
I want to know if the authors have discussed hyperprogression or not. Probably they did. So that's why we need access to the full paper. So I think Arnie doesn't have access. Why, Liam, why don't you get the paper and just show us the author's discussion on our next meeting, and we'll learn from what they said.
Okay, I'll request the article, and then once I get it, I'll also share it on the group chat.
Okay, let's do that. Okay,
sorry.
anything else, Arnie?
Sorry, Dr. Che.
No, this is for you to learn.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Chewy, do you have update?
Yeah, I do. But before my update, I'm just gonna, so Arnie, I left some comments on our chat box, the message chat box. So if you wanna check that out, I just made like a couple of suggestions for the manuscript, but I mean, I don't have authority, like I don't have access to the manuscript. That's why I just left it in the chat box. So if you wanna just check that. So
Thank you,
for
Jude.
my update, no worries. For my update, so there are the 2 abstracts that you mentioned regarding cancer screening. So Eugene, Liam, we worked on this abstract. So I'll present topic 1, and then Eugene can present the next one. So I think I'll just share this screen. One sec. So so this is basically like similar to like this is for the AACR, and this is similar to what our abstract is for our original article, but we just wanted to run through you 2 things.
Okay.
1 sec. Oh, so we selected the tables slash figures that we're gonna include in the, I guess, the abstract part of it, and we were gonna show you them if that's okay. And if you think it's appropriate, or if we should choose something else. So for the table, we chose this table 2, which basically like summarizes I guess the subgroup analysis for meta-analysis, which means that we're only looking at the CFDNA based essays. But yeah, so it just like tells you the summary of like, you know, these essays like by study type or by gender, like essay type and stuff. Do you think this table is okay? Like, do you think it's enough to include?
Can you go up to the main text?
Oh, okay.
And the main text is basically the summary or the abstract we had for the manuscripts. So this is going to be for the meta-analysis abstracts. We figured it's pretty much the same thing. So we just, it's the same thing. And then the second abstract is going to be the tumor of origin one that we wrote up separately. So technically speaking, the text here is something you already read over for the manuscript, but if there's anything you wanted to change for the purposes of the abstract, please let us know.
Yeah, I think this looks fine. I think the table is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll include this table, and then we'll include a figure. So
Can you
the
include
forest-
both? Because I thought for ACR, there was no mention of figure.
Yeah, so we weren't sure. So Chewy, we
Yeah.
checked that again. And so, you know how it mentions the table counts towards 800 characters?
Yes.
But it doesn't mention figures whatsoever, so we
True.
don't know if that means figures are allowed and it does not count towards the word count,
Mm.
or if it means like no figures are allowed, period.
Oh, I assumed it was allowed, but I'll should I like email them or something? Or
Yeah, we might have
I
to.
don't remember submitting figure. Dr.
oh
E,
really?
remember? ACR,
Actually, yeah, instead of submitting figure, we can make a table based on the meta results. So we can just make a table with pulled up results, not showing each, like, I think we can go with the table one without a figure.
Okay, but does that mean that we can sum it up in one table? Because like every table is gonna count for words and we
Yes,
cannot
and
afford to have two different tables.
Yeah, it'll have to be one
so
table.
yeah. So I think we don't need to make an additional table. I think table one is, oh, but then,
I think like in AACR abstract, the table or figure counts, like it's included in the word count. So
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
add like more figures, then you can write like less manuscript body. So I think what we did was like we combine all the figures into like one figure, and
one
then we
table.
just like one figure attached. Or I remember that for the table, they have their own way of like making table. Like when you submit the abstract, you have to like generate the table from there. Like you can't attach the table that you made yourself.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Okay. Wait, so that means they accept figures too, in addition to tables?
I think it was like either table or figure. I have to double check, but in
Okay.
either way, like it was like pretty significant word count. So
Yeah, it was like 800. Yeah.
you know, I think we kind of like
Figures.
avoided like adding a figure unless it was like very critical to show the data, because it really significantly limited the word count.
Okay. Okay.
And
At the
why don't
moment
we
we
just
can
email
afford
them too,
one.
Jimmy? Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is like the deadline's pretty close, so hopefully they get back in time. But otherwise we need to like find like a different route. I think we can afford like word count for like one table, but not two. So I'll definitely send them an email about whether it's okay to include figures. But there is a possibility their reply might not get back in time. So I think we still need a backup plan in case they say no.
Yep.
Okay.
so,
Okay.
so Isa, do you remember adding figure for AACR?
I personally have not added figure for AACR, but I remember adding table for Wongyung's ovarian TCGA paper.
Yeah, so I think it's table. I don't, so let's
Okay.
assume, well, you can ask, if they let figure be counted instead of table, then use this figure.
Instead of the table.
Right,
Okay.
because this is the main idea.
Okay.
But if they don't accept figure, then do a table that has these numbers in it, the figure 3.
Mm-hmm.
And for the subgroup analysis table, the table 2, you can incorporate that into the text. Because it's going to be a really big table if you, I mean, if you can combine figure 3 and table 2, do it, but I don't know how.
It's gonna be messy.
Yeah,
I
Okay,
guess still figure is not permitted. Because I found a previous guideline about AACR abstract. They didn't permit the table or figure, nothing. But now they permit the table, but it will span 800 characters. But they didn't comment about the figure, so I guess figure is not permitted yet.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I guess we should turn the figure into a table then. And then we'll see if we can put the table 2 inside that new table, I guess. But if it gets too messy, then I think we should do without table 2. We're tight on word count, but I guess we can work something out. It's always word count. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. We'll just finish it up this week.
Did you work on the second abstract too, or no?
That's Eugene actually did that, so that's all.
But
good.
she had to go for an urgent call at her work.
Oh, okay.
So we might have to come back to it later because I know she had
okay. Yeah, she did
she
a
had
lot.
points she wanted to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's-
so we'll wait for her to come back then. Anything
Yeah.
else, Chui?
No, that's about it.
All right, good. Where's the manuscript?
A manuscript. So initially Eugene, because I was taking the exam and gone, so Eugene took over, but like apparently like there were some details that needed editing. So we're gonna work on that to like this week and try to submit it by the end of this week. Because the guidelines or the requirements were a little different, so she needed to edit everything again. Yeah.
Okay, so that's still in the works.
Mm-hmm. But it should be done like this week. Latest, definitely before next meeting. I'll make sure. Because like everything's done. We just need to like re-edit everything.
Okay. When we submit,
Yes.
so who will take the ownership of the paper? I think whoever the first name, I feel like I've been very generous in allowing 4 equal contribution authors,
Mm-hmm.
which I have never done. This is
Mm-hmm.
out
Oh,
of my
really?
way to
Oh, okay.
to in part that I it's about helping you guys succeed as a team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I feel like I've gone out of the usual scientific practice,
Mm-hmm.
because you really have to make sure that 4 of you have done equal work, and you will take the full responsibility of finishing up the revisions. But it ends up being the first author in the order, which is you, Chuhi.
Mm-hmm.
And making sure the all other 3 authors will continue to work with you in submitting the revisions and so forth. It
True.
might get published in our 5th trial, or it's going to take, it could be a 1 year worth of work, you know what I mean? And you don't want the other 3 authors not do anything, and you just, if they are busy and just unable to help, that's just the way it is. And still the first author takes, I guess that they're all 4 first authors in theory, but it will have, someone has to take the ownership and lead the revision effort and do the submission. So I just feel like someone has to feel like this is my baby. I will take it to the end, and whatever the other authors do, it's at the end of the day, it's my baby. I will get this baby into this world, out this world, right? So that's a commitment. And a lot of people who went through my lab, told me, well, I started my internship. I'm busy. I'm getting married next month. You know, I have my own life duties. I'm having baby next month, you know, and then
Mhm.
I give up. I don't want to do this paper anymore. And I've had many of those people. So I wanted to know what your commitment level is because we had many papers that are written, but not, you know, the revision step is so hard that they don't want to carry it forward. For instance, my B cell paper was written 5 years ago. It's still not published. Okay, and the first author give it up. I don't want to work on it anymore. Okay, so it's all written, and I think, you know, you feel like writing is enough. Getting revision and getting it out to the world is harder. And
True.
you're gonna be like, well, I have, you know, I have to do this. I have, Dr. Jian will say, I have, you know, this much surgery to do. I have to organize the breast cancer meeting and so many things, and I have to do this for my
True.
children. Your life duty will come always. You will always be busy. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of priority. Is it your priority, or did you do this because you had to do something in Chicago and it's something too much for you to finish? And so my suggestion is you commit wholeheartedly and take it to the end. However busy you are. Number two, if it's too much, then you give it up. I don't want to do this anymore. I want some other people to take it and then do the submission on your behalf. And in my mind, that person does not deserve to be first author. Because you gave up your baby. And then we don't know, whoever's going to do revision might work even 10 times harder than what you've done to get it out. There's no guarantee. So that's my perspective. I'm just not just telling you guys about this project, but going forward, I want you to have this heart, this science. Writing be a leader in the project is a devotion, and it's not a devotion that ends after 3 months or 6 months. So if you're not ready to take that challenge, I want you to sign out and say, I am done. I don't have intention to carry on this project. Because I've seen the detrimental effect of the opposite, where I want to do it, this is my project, and then if someone, you know, takes out their authorship, they're like, they get angry and they're like, why? I worked so hard on this project and I will publish it, and then they say they will work on it for the next 3 years, and I get sick and tired of pushing them to publish. You know what I mean? It's you either commit or you don't commit and sign off. So I think it has to be for every project. So I deal with many different fellows, investigators. There are people, oh, I'll work on it. And then I hear that all the time for the last 3 years. And it's very draining to work with these people. So I would rather have them quit and assign those projects to somebody else who really wants to do it. So I want to make sure all 4 authors are dedicated, which I can't ensure. But at least one author will take the ownership and take it to the end. And I fully respect people's priorities, and some, you know, you can have your family member get sick and I can't work on it, and you sign off, and the life has to, you know, carry on. And I totally understand. I don't get disappointed at signing off things. I like priorities. I don't get offended if someone does not do oncology. I think I honor their priorities and their interest. But I don't like it when they said, I will do it, and then that carries on for many years and there's nothing happens. And there's a lot of blaming. Like, I've done this and you don't acknowledge me this much. but my argument is if you give it up, you give it up, you know, you're the first author. And if you give up your paper, you know, no one will guarantee any credit for your paper. So I mean, that's just the way it works in academia, and you have to understand it. So I will end here. This is just a general overview of how finishing a project matters in
Mhm.
what we do. So okay, Chewy, any comments or any thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I apologize for being busy the past like 2 weeks. I just had my step and I wanted to focus on that. And I thought it'd be okay for me to pass along the submission part, like just the submitting part to like a different first author, because you know, after 2 weeks I'll be back helping review the submission. So I didn't think that would be a big problem. But yeah, I definitely get your point. Like, I guess like every time something comes up, like if it's pushed back priority wise, that's gonna be a problem. I guess in my schedule, like my next, I guess problem date will be in May. That's when I plan on taking like the next step, like April or May. So I might have to take another like 2 weeks off. Hopefully our stuff gets published before that, but then like Lancet might refuse it, then like we'll have to reapply to like other place, resubmit to other places, and then it's gonna get like take longer. So yeah, I know I'll have to take another 2 weeks off, like either April or May. And if that's gonna be a problem, like I'll let you know in advance. But I was hoping like another first author would take over at least the submitting part.
So that's
Yeah.
totally fine, and taking, you know, a couple of weeks off is totally fine. What my purpose was, in the long run, are you still in charge?
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah.
with other authors to make sure
Mhm.
in
That's a little difficult for me just because
yeah, in your
it's
apps,
like
are they
it's like having everyone be at the same place at the same time when everyone has different schedules was a little different, a little difficult, I guess, which is why I defended so much on Liam and Eugene,
Yeah.
which I feel I should have equalized everyone's contribution, but it was just difficult to have everyone together so often because we were having like, like meetings, 3-4 meetings every week. And
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, so regarding, dividing it up to 4 people first author, I'll try to make sure that anytime we need to revise, I have at least those 4 people in the meeting.
Yeah, and I think we have a very dedicated and committed group of authors here with,
Yeah.
you know, Juhi and Eugene, myself, and also Richard. So, and we've been, you know, very closely communicating about this project, and yeah, we're aware of everyone's or each other's kind of needs and their time commitments, and we're there to pick up and have each other's back, basically. And this baby will get published.
Good. I want you guys to be a good role model for collaboration. Good.
Oh, hopefully it gets published soon. I know the review process is hell though, because my other journals review process was hell.
Yeah, you've seen what happened to Minjung's paper. Like she revised it extensively. So
Yes.
you know, we gotta get ready for that.
Oh, I'm kind of worried for what they would say.
My biggest concern is sometimes they can say, well, you did meta-analysis on a topic that's not meta-analysable.
That's true.
It's a different essay. Why did you pull that together?
That's
It's
true.
sort of like you know, that's just asking like a fundamental
That is
question.
true.
But I you know, in my mind, there's no gold standard. There's you can argue about statistics, but what to pull, it's all clinical question, like how do you
Yeah.
define what to pull, what not to pull together? That's you know, in the eye of the beholder. And so I think we can fight those things. Philosophical questions, you know, technical question, we'll do whatever they say, you know, they want. You know, we'll try different methods and whatever they want, but you know, we can still, you know, be able to work it through. So
Hopefully. Yeah. It was
okay,
interesting.
Julie, anything else?
No, I'm
Okay.
back. That's
Good.
so.
Welcome back.
But yeah.
But again, I think Dr. Jian told me this, like, this is such a precious time. Like, I think Dr. Iser will not understand and Jian understand what it means. Once you start your clinical track, you're gonna be pulled into, even Dr. Jian was pulled to do COVID testing because she's a surgeon. I was like, I thought that was crazy. Like, why does it have to do with surgeon poking nose?
Because my hospital is the National University Hospital. I had to do, yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that for interns though in Korea?
Oh,
I remember
interns
doing that.
do, but it's still the faculty
Still
have to
faculty
do.
had to do it.
All
Really?
nurses, yes.
That's
We made a
crazy.
drive-through. We made a drive-through COVID test
For the first time,
situation.
this hospital.
What?
Yes. Yes. So we had very much patience. So I had
That's
to.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, so my
It was interesting. It was
if you're
so interesting.
clinical, you're gonna be pulled left and right. Oh,
That's
she called
true.
sick. Go do the knife throw. So you thought you were gonna do some, you know, writing, and then you were pulled out to do something. And, you know, if you're clinical, you're just, you know, dealing with limited time and resource.
Mhm.
So you have to, well, Juhi, you probably understand, you do internship, you've done internship. So you understand that this time is very precious.
That is so true.
And to be able to focus on the project and make that into like
Yeah.
paper and really just make a project your own, like just own it and just, you know, I want to make contribution, and this is such a precious time and won't come back. So I
Mhm.
want you to just make, you know, the best use of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, I think I'm talking too much today. I'll stop.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think I needed that though, because like it was taking a little longer than I expected. And honestly, like I think for my exam I needed the 2 weeks, but also to take care of my burnout, I needed the 2 weeks.
Of course, I think that's necessary. Okay, is Eugene back or she? Eugene?
I don't, she's not. I don't think so.
Okay, we'll wait for her. Dr. Chiang, give us update. Oh, wait, before Dr. Iser, do you have update? Do you have to, I know are you, what, I don't know what rotation you have any duty today to excuse?
No, just attending conference and I need to go pick up the jackets. So
Oh,
sorry,
are you attending conference?
I mean in the hospital.
Oh, in the hospital, okay. So
So,
this is still research month for you?
Yeah, until this week.
Okay, good. So
Wow.
look for hospitals providing research.
That's amazing.
That not many hospitals do.
They don't?
They don't,
Oh.
right, Iser?
Well, I don't know about other hospital, but my program does provide 4 weeks of research block in the during the residency. So I just used 2 weeks. So next year I'll be having another 2 weeks of research work.
Yeah,
Mm.
my residency program offered 4 weeks as well. So you're usually in second year and
Mhm.
so precious. And I know many hospitals do not. So when you wanna, rank those programs higher.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty supportive for these research and then giving day off for the presentation, the conference.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
the program director's call, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, I would say most programs don't have it. So they just
Mm.
want the resident to work harder and yeah. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Jian.
Oh,
Oh yeah, Isir, I would ask you have update or not?
yeah, so I got like a couple updates and questions.
Okay, let's do that first.
So regarding this TMB, let me just so regarding this TMB, I have just a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
So we submitted this abstract to SITC. So this is the abstract that we'll be presenting for the CC, and then I just looked over the data. And
Yeah,
then it included 95 patients for the all types of cancer. For the garden test sent up to June this year. So I collected 3 more months of a garden test with TMB.
Mhm.
So we found 17 more patients that can be added.
okay.
So the correlation, so I just finished the collecting the blood TMB and tissue TMB, and then starting the data collection for the survivals. So I was wondering if you're interested in these survival analysis for these, and then like how you want that to be analyzed. Because if we just like add up these 17 patients and then do the same thing, this like making this correlation plot. So what we did last time was this is just generally the tissue TMB and blood TMB, and then we just saw the correlation coefficient. And then this is depending on the cancer type, like lung adenocarcinoma, lung squamous, and then other, this is lung others. I don't think they did for like other type of cancer. So this is just for the lung.
Hmm.
And then this is based on the where that tissue TMB tissue was obtained.
Mhm.
So like lymph node and primary tissue and then metastatic, things like that.
Mhm.
And then they did the another analysis depending on like smoking status. I don't know if I'm like super interested in this like smoking status thing, but I think like in general, I think we could make like kind of similar abstract with blood TMB and tissue TMB concordance. And then my another question was like when I was like collecting these data, I found out that there are some patients whose TMB were low, like initially with the tissue,
Mhm.
but with the blood TMB that was taken like some time after the tissue biopsy, the
Uh-huh.
TMB like went up, like TMB is like over 10, like the initial TMB was like low.
Uh-huh.
So I'm wondering like if you want to see these like prognostic value of these blood TMB and tissue TMB and compare like how predictive these values are, or we could do maybe like blood and tissue both high and blood and tissue both low, and then like tissue was low and blood was high, and then we can like divide these patients into like 4 groups, and then we can like compare the survivals. I was wondering if you were like interested in like seeing these survival analysis.
Yeah. What is the total number of patients for your abstract?
So this is 95 patients for the previous one, and then we're adding 17. So it's going to be 112.
Hmm. And these are all lung cancer patients?
No, 112 are pan cancer, like all type of cancer. And then last abstract, there were 69 lung cancer patient. And then this time we'll be able to add about like 12 more lung cancer patients. So it's going to be about 80 lung cancer patients.
I see. So for survival, I think you have to make sure it's same histology. So
Mhm,
you can do correlation like this for all solid tumors.
mhm.
And for survival, just pick up the lung cancer
Mhm.
and you can, and then they probably, I mean, they all will have received different therapies, and usually EGFR mutated tumors are low TMB.
Right.
So we're just going to assume that the therapy is going to be very different. The mutation is going to be very different.
Right.
But still, is there a general trend? The high TMB, low TMB, would that affect survival? But
Yeah.
I don't know, for that lung cancer patient, would you have survival data, or is it something you have to collect?
So I do have to collect, but I think like if we collect only lung adenocarcinoma patient, or let's say if we collect lung adenocarcinoma who received immunotherapy among these 80 patients,
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be like less than 80.
So it's going to be probably collected somewhere, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of them probably are like overlapping patient from other cohort that we already collected. And then I have like full like today and then this Friday after coming back from Boston. So I think like if you're interested, it could be doable.
yeah. I think people would be interested. Yeah. So here's the thing. Histology has to be similar, but
Mhm.
people sometimes expect therapy has to be similar.
Okay.
So you said immunotherapy, so that, you know, the immunotherapy containing regimen, most people get it unless they're EGFR. So I think that will make it homogeneous, the group.
Mhm.
And with that, the question is, would TMB affect survival of these patients?
Right.
And the other question is, let's say TMB low and high,
Yeah.
but then you, like you said, I just feel like the sample size is going to be a problem, but you can define the group like concordant group, discordant group.
Yeah.
So the hypothesis is that if the tissue TMB is low, but if the blood TMB is too high,
Mhm.
there's a ratio. Usually the tissue, the blood TMB is usually, the slope is not 1. It's a little bit higher. So yeah, I think in Jewel's first manuscript, we kind of defined the concordant group and the blood TMB higher group, things like that. If
So,
you,
so that was my question as well. Like this is the table that basically Joel made originally and then Eugene added up these data.
Mhm.
But the format is the same as Joel's manuscript. So what he did was BTMB and TTMB ratio the third house. So he defined this mid like I think maybe like moderate like ratio.
yeah,
Defined it as like a concordant group and then low and high as a discordant group. But that point I didn't understand because if that's like a ratio like BTMB over TTMB, then the numbers that are close to 1 has to be like a concordant group, and then whichever number that is far from 1 has to be discordant group.
right, right. So I think mid is the concordant group. Mid,
But like this mid includes like 2.0 to 3.8. So my understanding is this means blood TMB was like twice or 3.8 times higher than TTMB. Like, did I get it right?
yeah,
So that means that's not like as concordant as like this low group who has ratio of 1.
yeah. So the concordant is not 1 in this case, because it's different platform, blood and tissue. So if you, in the same tumor,
Yeah.
your TMB in the tissue, if it's 10, then in the blood it will normally come up as 2 or 1
Oh.
because of the difference in platform.
Mhm.
Because of the sensitivity, things like that. So how Joel defined concordant is within our data set, let's see where the slope goes. And then we put a range of slope, and then that's over the slope and under the slope.
Oh, okay.
So that's low, mid, and high. That's how we defined it.
So this is Joel's manuscript for JCOPO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this-
this is the ratio, yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't know if I 100% got this, because I still kind of don't understand like how this like ratio of 2.2 to 3 can be defined as like a concordant group.
So if you read the garden paper, it's cited here.
Oh,
The garden used there's their value map and tremelimumab,
Mhm.
E1 CTLA for study done by AstraZeneca,
yeah.
and they used garden to calculate TMB, blood TMB. I think it was a Nature paper or something.
So did they say like blood TMB is like generally
They used
like
1.6
1 time?
ratio or something.
Oh, okay. I can look that up then.
Yeah, so the ratio is not 1. The
I see.
ratio is somewhere between 1.5 to 2.
Okay.
But we didn't use it. We decided to use our own ratio.
Mhm.
So whatever the slope is for our own data,
Mhm.
just use that and then just randomly selected the range of the slope.
Mhm. I see.
Define
then-
that as the mid ratio, which
I
is
see.
like concordant group.
Uh-huh.
And we hypothesize that if you are over that range
Mhm.
and your blood TMB is higher than tissue TMB,
Yeah.
we hypothesize that that group might have more metastatic disease, shedding more DNA into the blood
Right.
than one tissue.
Mhm.
You get it? So
Yeah.
we wanted to ask that, would that people which
Mhm.
belongs to the high group here in this table,
Right.
will they have more like higher tumor burden or
Yeah.
higher metastatic tumor?
Yeah.
If you look at it, maybe there's a trend,
Mm.
but the sample size is not large enough to show that. But at
Mm.
least we looked into it.
Right. I
And-
mean, like for CT abstract, there were 60 long adenocarcinoma patients. And then we can add like 7, 8 more long adenocarcinoma patients. So, and then we might have to exclude these patients who didn't get the, so my another question is this. So some patient got multiple garden tests.
Right.
And then the garden test that had TMB, is like there's like certain garden tests like that has TMB, right? And then like when we look up the survival data, do you want me to choose like a regimen that was used closest to the time of the garden blood draw as like a regimen of interest to get the survival? Because like TMB changes, because sometimes like some patients have like different TMBs, and then like their treatment regimen could be different. Like
So
between some-
TMB decreases
Mhm.
if the therapy works well. And if
Right.
you get the garden on therapy, then
Right.
you're the result is affected. So it's better to get it close to or right before therapy
Got it.
and then close to the tissue TMB as well. But I think it's very difficult to assess that and then get them out.
Mm.
So I think in this paper that there's a definition of which blood TMB that we used was
So for this one, like we didn't take a look at like the survival or the correlation between the survival, like treatment response and all that. So the only time point that we calculated was a sampling interval between the tissue TMB and blood TMB.
right.
So yeah, I mean, we can just like make like a kind of similar abstract like this with like adding these 17 patients. But I was just wondering like if you wanted to see like more from this.
Yes, I think if you have time, I think looking at lung cancer survival is something that we can add.
Okay.
So I would add every non-small cell lung cancer patients.
Mhm.
The therapy has and I would do both groups. Look at all non-small cell lung cancer patients and see high TMB, low TMB, concordant TMB, discordant TMB,
Mhm.
blood TMB, low blood TMB, high tissue TMB, do it in all different angles.
Mhm.
You can do it. Now, so collect all survival data for non-small cell lung cancer,
Mhm.
because getting PFS will take time. Just do the overall survival.
Yeah.
And then among them, check the ones who actually received immunotherapy
Mhm.
at any given point, and do subgroup analysis for that patient, those groups.
Oh, okay.
So that you have two groups,
Got it.
but not small cell. It has to be non-small cell,
Uh-huh.
and look at everyone and then do subgroup of immunotherapy treated patients.
Sounds good.
Let's do the overall survival, and you have 4 different groups: TMB, tissue and blood, high, low. So that's 4 by 4 different groups, but you can divide it into different groups and sort of see what happens. And you can use this group as well. Here, low, mid, high, low versus mid, high, low, mid to high, or, you could kind of divide it in any way you like and see if there's any difference.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yep. I think that's about it. And then for other projects, so for the in silico tool
Yeah.
project, so I got sign out from Eileen. I got all the drafts that I didn't get the draft of the Eugene, but Eugene did send us the draft through email, but it looks like it got kind of rejected twice and then they kind of stopped like submitting. So Eugene's was for about the lung cancer. And then I got the draft that Emma and Dr. Chiu has been working on for all type of the solid tumor. So it looks like the manuscript was like written up to like 80%, but like they couldn't finish it. And then it was just on hold since then. So that was about it. And then like I remember that you mentioned like doing the same process with the genes that were related to immunotherapy.
Yes.
Would you be able to like explain that a little bit more? Because like their concept was they were trying to see if these like gene mutations are like pathogenic or not. So they use this NCCN guideline to figure out like which genes are actually proven to be like pathogenic and targetable.
Right.
And they saw like how these like in silico tools show them like for each kind of mutation. So for these new gene sets that are known to have any correlation with the immunotherapy, like would that like in silico tool like show us like any idea of like how that works with the immunotherapy or anything like that?
So yes, so the question is STK11
Mhm.
or there are genes like MYC, there's genes like
I mean, I looked up a couple papers, like there are a couple papers that has there's like some gene sets that are related with the immunotherapy. So I mean, we can like make up the list. But like, how do I apply these like in silico tools to figure out like how that works with the immunotherapy?
So the method is going to be the same. It's because before what we did is, let's say PI3 PIK3CA, let's say NF1, let's say KRAS. Not all of them are functional. So same thing. The question is, will these in silico tools predict functionality for these mutations? And the mutations that we will focus on will be the ones that are described
Mhm.
In, let's say, I think we use My Cancer Genome, we use MSK. So the most widely used platforms, and we use the very variants there and use those variants and plug into the silico tools and see if they predict this as a functional or not functional.
Mhm.
So same thing. It's
So-
a gene
Okay,
in the immunotherapy. It's not going to predict it whether it's going to affect the immunotherapy results or not.
got it, got it.
That is just a biological paper.
Mhm.
But whether whether this will, because the whole idea of this doing this project is many NGS companies do curation, meaning they find STK11 and there's many variants, but among the variants, is this something that the clinicians will think, well, this is an important variant
I see, I
and I should use combination immunotherapy, chemo combo,
Mhm.
or not, then you have to say with confidence that this is functional or not. But this is all based on usually a modeling.
I see,
and-
I see.
Is the modeling good enough to tell these CBio portal, this found mutations really important well, I guess, is it functional or not? That's the basic question. Is it functional?
Okay,
If it's
got it.
functional, it's likely to be conferring resistance to immunotherapy.
okay. So we're basically seeing the functionality of these genes like with the same methodology that was used
Yeah.
for these papers.
Yeah, it's just different gene set. Everything is actually very similar.
I see. That is it. And then for this TMB, I emailed Leslie Kidrowski if she could like run that like pipeline thing, like she did.
Cyclone, yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't hear back yet. I think she's still working for Garden. I don't know that part as well.
So yeah, PyClone, I think we need to ask her again, to CC me
Okay.
again, and
Yeah.
I'll
I CC'd you for your nm.org email, but I can like send a follow-up email.
yeah.
That is it. And then for Interven, I also sent out the email if they can like provide us the result of their assay for our institutional data. I didn't hear back from them either. I'll try to send out like another follow-up email.
And for the Garden TMB
Mhm.
that you showed in this abstract, You can send Leslie the list of these patients and ask for PyClone. I mean, and you can,
Yeah, so I just sent out these emails that we found like about 120 patients with blood TMV and tissue TMV. Like we
Yeah.
want to see the clonality of these patients. Like, would you be able to like run the pipeline if we give you the list of these patients? And then I didn't hear back yet.
okay. Let's keep, yeah. Yeah, keep pushing her every week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering like if she's still the point of contact for that.
I think she is.
Oh, okay.
She, hmm.
And for Intervent, I was wondering if anybody like heard back from them recently, because I emailed Tillman,
Yeah,
the demo guy, and then the other lady who used to be the point of contact last time, but I'm not like hearing back from them. They used to be pretty like responsive to the email, so I was wondering.
really?
So I was wondering if there's anybody who talked to them recently.
No. For both of them, just CC me again and send me, and then let me follow up on both.
Okay, okay. Do you want me to CC you with your Gmail or just nm.org? Because I CC you with nm.org.
Yeah, nm.org. Yeah.
I have been in communication with Interven.
Oh, who did you talk to? Do you remember?
1 second, I'm just looking this up. So we actually have a upcoming teleconference with them in a
Oh,
couple of weeks. Let's see. So the primary contact I've been communicating with recently is Christina Guerriere.
okay.
That's Guerrier.
Yeah,
But
would
they
you
have
be
been
able to,
pretty slow to respond.
oh, really? Yeah, would you be
Yeah.
able to like forward the email so I can like maybe add that person to my email?
Sure. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, the last time I heard from them was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God. No, actually, that's the person that I sent email. Okay. All right, then I guess I'll just send out the follow-up email.
Okay.
Okay, anything else, is there?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, very good. Dr. Chion?
Yes. Can you unshare? Lisa? Lisa, can you unshare the screen?
Oh, give me 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. 네. 유진. 네. 아, 진짜. 네. 아, 네네, 맞아. 아, 진짜. 아, 맞아. 거기 나와요. 맞아요. 네네. 내가 한국은 유진을 여자 이름을 너무 많이 써가지고. 감사합니다.
Okay, 시작해봅시다. 들리세요? 오랜만에 한국말로 진행해 볼까요? 이건
아, 네, 교수님 감사합니다. 이건 AACR 초록 일단 먼저 보여드리는 거고요.
네.
지난번 보여드린 이후로 리암 선생님이 그래머 체크 한 번 더 해주셨고, 교수님께서 좀 더 인풋 주실 거, 인포메이션 오늘 주신다 그래가지고요.
그리고 이거는
네.
우리가 한 거긴 하지만 그 앙키바랏이 한번 봐줘야 될 것 같아서 마지막에
네.
앙키바랏을 넣어주시고요.
마지막에 넣을까요? 알겠습니다.
네, 마지막에 넣어주세요. 마지막에 넣어주시고 이거는 앱스트랙트고 나중에 페이퍼를 쓸 때는 선생님이
이것만 가지고 페이퍼를 쓰나요?
아니요. 그러니까 이거는
네네.
하나만 예.
맞아요. 네네.
어쨌든
이건,
네, 어쨌든 우리 전체 다 분석해서
네네. 네네.
때는 선생님이 퍼스트로 가시고 제가 라스트로 가고 앙키
네네.
선생님 앞으로 가고 그렇게 하면 될 것 같고요.
알겠습니다.
앙키 상태는 리암이 이거를 우리가 낸다 그러니까 네가 한번 봐달라 이렇게 저를 CC해서 보내주시면 돼요.
네.
그리고 음, 이게 80% 8명이 캔서로 죽었다는 게
네.
음, 음, 음.
10명 중에 8명.
네.
10명이 사망했는데 8명은 말리그넌시고 둘은 아더스예요.
제가 지적하겠던 게 콘클루전에
네, 네.
proves recurrence free survival이 하면은 그러니까 CBP가 원인이 돼서 improve 했다는 느낌을 주거든요. 그냥 associated with improved 이렇게 하는 게 이게 원인이 됐는지 뭐 다른 이유인지는 우리가 아직 뭐
네.
분명한 건 아니잖아요. 그냥 현상을
네, 네.
보고한 거라서 그렇게
네, 네.
표현을 바꿔주시면 좋겠고요.
알겠습니다.
그리고 preventing tumor contamination 이거를 그냥 하는 것보다 그러니까 사실은 CPB를 해도 시퀀셜하게 하면은 또 컨테미네이션이 되잖아요.
네. 그 내용을 넣고 싶은데 19케이스 중에 저희 둘은 non sequential이지만 나머지는 sequential일 것 같지만 사실은 명확하게 그게 적힌 페이퍼가 많지 않고
맞아요.
여기서 갑자기 non sequential이 단어가 나와버리면
음,
이거 뭐지? 할 것 같아서 사실 고민을 하다가 넣진 않았거든요.
음,
근데 페이퍼에서는 그게 섹션으로 다뤄질 것 같긴 해요.
네네네. 저도 다 동의하는데 지금 여기에다가 갑자기 컨테미네이션을 쓰면 그러니까 이 에크모가 컨테미네이션이랑 무슨 프리벤팅 하는데 무슨 역할을 하는지 사람들이 약간
음,
혼란이 올 것 같아요.
네.
그래서 차라리 이런 원인에 대해서 앱스트랙트 레벨에서는 안 다뤄줘도 되거든요.
네네.
음. 그냥 예상을 하면은 그러니까 뭐 그냥 어떻게 CBP가 이런 투머 리커런스를 줄일 수 있는지에 대한 메커니즘에 대한 연구가 필요하다 뭐 이런 거 그냥
네,
further 뭐 research
네.
is needed to explore the beneficial role of
네.
CBP 뭐 in reducing tumor contamination from donor cancer contamination 뭐 이런 식으로
네,
네, 그렇게 해주는 게 좋을 것 같습니다. 리암 선생님이랑 같이 써보면 될 것 같아요.
네, 네. 완성 후에 교수님께 한 번 더 컨펌 받고 안키바라 교수님께 보낼까요? 아니면 리엄 선생님하고만 한 번 더
리암
리뷰하고
선생님하고
바로.
괜찮을 것 같아요. 네, 이
네,
정도.
알겠습니다. 테이블은 나중에 저희가 그 포스터든 뭐든 그거 만들 때 넣으면 되겠죠.
테이블을 뭐 넣으실 거예요?
테이블은 그 리절트를 정리를 하는 건데 하나로 만들 수 있기는 하거든요. 근데 그게 800 캐릭터를 스팬하고 그러면 실제로 여기 쓰여지는 리절트가 되게 부실할 것 같아서
꼭 필요 없죠, 그럼.
네네네.
아니,
여기서는 저는 충분히 디스크립션이 된 것 같고
네.
나중에 억셉이 되면 그때 테이블이랑 피겨랑 넣어서 만들면 될 것 같아요.
포스터에, 그렇죠?
네네.
괜찮을 것 같아요. 그렇게 그냥 요대로만 그냥 해도 괜찮을 것 같아요.
네. 알겠습니다.
그리고 IRB는 아직 통과 안 됐나요, 리암 선생님?
네, 아직 IRB 통과는 안 됐고요. 지난주에 이메일 보내서
음.
그 연락을 받았습니다. 그래서 업데이트를 받았고 거기서 clarification request 와가지고 그거 지금 작업 중에 있습니다.
어,
그래서 오늘 중으로 보내는 게 목표입니다. 근데 그 담당자랑 통화까지 했는데요.
음.
담당자가 그 전에도 그 앙키바라 씨랑 IRB 같이 일을 하셨던 분이더라고요. 그래서 그 로버트 큐리랑 이런 케이스들 알고 있어서 상황을 설명을 해줬더니
음.
AACR abstract submission 데드라인에 최대한 맞추게끔 우리 도와주겠다고 했고요.
음.
그래서 11월 14일 날 이제 바이위클리 IRB 미팅 우리 담당자가 진행하는 미팅 세션이 하나 있어서 그때 꼭 자기가 이거를 디스커션해서 해보겠다고 얘기를 했고 그러고 이제 1차적으로 봤을 때는 그냥 이제 좀 형식적인 것들 몇 개 고치는 거여서 그 외 내용은 크게 문제될 거 없을 것 같다라는 피드백 받았고요. 그리고 또 혹시나 뭐
그래요?
필요하다면 emergency 미팅 잡아가지고 빨리 처리해 줄 수도 있다라는 것도 얘기를 해서 아마 AACR 가능할 것 같습니다.
그럼 지금부터 쓰세요. 그냥 trial in progress라는 형태가 있으니까
네,
네, 다른 것들 좀 찾아봐서 그 형식에 맞게 다른 거 없고요. 그냥 우리는 이런 이유로 이런 트라이얼을 하고 있다.
네,
그리고 거기에 뭐 프라이머리 엔포인트는 뭐고 뭐 어떤 바이오마커도 보고 있고 뭐 그냥 그리고 우리 센터에서 지금 인롤 하고 있고 그 전에 뭐 레셔넬은 이런 성공 케이스가 있었다. 뭐 이런 식으로 쓰면
네,
돼요. 네,
네, 알겠습니다.
네, 좋습니다.
다음은
그래서 만약에 그게 제출이 되면 어, 음, 마지막 컨클루전에 그러니까 우리 저자들이 우리가 이 더블 렁 트랜스플란트를 CP를 하면서 하는 그런 그넌 시퀀셜하게 하는 그런 어, 어, 클리니컬 트라이얼을 우리 인스티튜션에서 하고 있다. 이걸 익스플로어 하는 알아봐야 된다. 그리고 우리도 이런 걸 하고 있다. 뭐 이런 식으로 한 문장 정도 넣어줄 수 있어요. 이제 우리가 서브미션 할 거니까. 오픈되면 트라이얼이. 네.
네.
네, 좋아요.
다음은 저희 DLT
음.
매뉴스크립이고요. 케이스 시리즈는 토탈 19개, 저희 케이스 2개를 포함을 했고,
네,
그리고 유노스 데이터 15개, 그리고 인터내셔널은 아직 안 보내주셔서 기다리고 있고요. 한 3, 4주 걸린다고 했으니까 그 사이에 다른 거 작업하고 있으면 될 것 같습니다.
네,
그리고 피겨 그때 말씀 주셨던 거 보면 쌤이 지난주에 좀 아파가지고 며칠만 조금 더 시간이 필요하다 얘기해서요. 이건 다시 작업 중이고요. 이게 케이스 시리즈에서 이제 CPB를 이용했던 disease free survival, overall survival, cancer specific survival 이렇게 나오는 건데, 교수님께서 이거 전에 전체 환자의 그 overall survival, disease free survival 그래프를 하나 내자고 하셨거든요. 이거는 CPB를 이용한 걸로 이제 두 그룹으로 나눠서 본 거고. 근데 교수님 그 그래프를 그리면 그래프가 진짜 하나만 이렇게 생기잖아요.
맞아요.
네, 괜찮을까요? 좀, 너무 심플하지는 않을지.
음,
왜냐면 저희가 유노스도 피겨를 넣어야 되고, 인터내셔널도 피겨를 넣어야 되고, 그래서 제가 예상하기로는 피겨가 이미 한 4개 정도가 예상이 되거든요.
아, 이 페이퍼에,
네네네.
음,
리뷰 페이퍼는 리미테이션은 보통 잘 없죠? 없지 않나요?
뭐 몇 개 있긴 있는데, 결국은 너무 많으면 서플리멘탈로 보내도 되긴 한데, 이거는 그냥 제가 보기에는 이 데이터셋에서 나오는 우리가 필요한
네.
데이터니까, 이렇게 A, B, C, D 이렇게 해갖고 넣을
네.
수 있고, 그러니까 이 전체 데이터의 서바이벌을 요그 안에서 보고 싶으니까
네네.
하는 것 같아요, 저는.
그래서
하나짜리
그러면
한번 하고,
전체 데이터를
네,
recurrence free survival, overall survival 이렇게 두 개의 데이터를 구성을 할까요? 이렇게 두
네,
개의 그래프를 추가를 할까요?
네, 네.
cancer specific overall
서바이벌도,
survival도 그러면은 토탈
네,
6,
음, 음. 아니면 저는 보여줘야 된다고 생각해서 이거 그러니까 그래프 하나짜리 전체에서
네,
세 개를 다 하고요.
네,
세 개를 제 생각 그러면 A, B, C, D, E, F 이렇게 해서 한
네,
패널로 하면 좋을 것 같아요. 네,
알겠습니다. 그렇게 하겠습니다. 그리고 이거는 유노스 데이터였고, 이전하고 크게 달라진 건 없습니다. 다시 저희 랩미팅 페이퍼로 넘어와서 지금 매뉴스크립 쓰고 있는 거는 히스톨로지까지 어제 거의 완성을 해서요.
음,
이제 클리니컬 아웃컴 리절트 부분 하면 될 것 같고 이 수술에 대한 거는 제가 제일 마지막에 쓸게요. 어차피 여기 서전이 또 나중에 구성을 하셔야 되는 부분이 있어가지고
네,
그래서 ACR 앱스트랙은 아까 교수님께 보여드렸었고 그리고 다음에 ctDNA 프로젝트인데요. 프레디슨으로 보내는 샘플은 이제 다 준비가 됐고 어제 일진 선생님하고 제가 미팅을
네네
했거든요.
어땠어요?
그 샘플 그 스터디에 대해서 조금 더 직접 파악을 하셨고요.
네,
그리고 코홀트 A는 자기들도 이제 연구를 시작하는 거는 레디 셋인데 근데 어제 말씀하시기로는 본인들이 H&E 슬라이드를 만들 수가 없대요. 그쪽에서
음,
처음에 알렉산더가 저희한테 요청할 때는 H&E 슬라이드 or
음,
티슈 코어라고 해서 이제
음,
노라 입장에서는 그러면은 뭐든지 알아서 해라. 그래서 티슈를 깎아줬는데
네,
H&E를 본인들은 패돌로지스트가 없기 때문에 만들 수가 없다고 얘기를 하시는 거예요. 그래서 그럴 거면 어제 리암 선생님하고 상의를 해봤는데 블러드 샘플을 프레디슨으로 바로 보내고
음,
티슈 코어는 루닛으로 바로 보내서
음,
루닛에서 할 작업하고
네.
H&E 슬라이드 만들어서 거기는 패톨로지스트가 계시잖아요.
네.
그래가지고 이미지를 얻으면 어떨까 이렇게 생각을 해봤습니다.
근데 이미지만 있으면 된대요? 그 일진 선생님이?
그러니까 티슈가 이 스터디에서는 사실은 필요가 없대요. 필요가 없고 just a future study를 위해서 just in case 그냥 요청을 하신 건데 이 스터디에서 캔서 퓨리티는 반드시 필요하대요. 그래서 H&E 슬라이드는 꼭 필요한 상태고 H&E 슬라이드 또는 캔서 퓨리티가 몇 % 정도 되는지 패톨로지스트가 알려줄 수 있으면 좋겠다고 하셨고
네.
티슈는 그 다른 선생님들께서 이제 추가로 다른 further study를 위해서 가능하다면 요청을 하신 상태입니다.
음.
그래서
그럼 제 생각에는 티슈보다 그냥 H&E
네.
슬라이드로 퓨리티를 루닛이 계산할 수 있잖아요.
네네
그걸 그냥 프레디슨에 보내고
네.
티슈는 프레디슨에 보내지 말고 루닛이 갖고 있어라.
일단 홀딩 네네
네,
오케이
홀딩하고 왜냐하면 나중에 우리가 그때 또 깎아서 우리는
네네
T셀도 보고 B셀도 보고 매크로페이지도 보고
네네
그걸 하는 게 더 중요하지. 지금 네, 프레디스는
뭐
그런 걸
할지
하는 건
모르는데
아니니까.
그냥 예 그럴
네,
필요는
보내는
없을
게
것 같아요.
나중에 너네가 티슈로 꼭 하고 싶은 게 있고 뭘 시퀀싱하고 하게 되면은 우리가 그때
네네
보내겠다. 그러고
네
퓨리티 필요한 건 우리가 H&E 슬라이드를 만들어 갖고 사진 찍은 걸 보낼 수도 있고 아니면 루닛이 퓨리티 계산한 걸 줄 수도 있고
네네
네, 그렇게 합시다.
알겠습니다. 그러면 그렇게 진행을 하도록 하겠습니다. 새로운 코드에 대해서는 지금 일단 세계 회사 리암 선생님께서 그 시놉시스를 다 전달을 하셨고요. 아직 리플라이는 안 와서 기다리고 있는 상태입니다. 요즘 그런데 궁금한 게 델피는 저희가
음.
따로 이런 미팅 같은 거 없이 그냥 무조건 바이알 1cc로 미리 준비를 하면 될까요?
리암 선생님 델피에게 우리가 이걸 얼마나 설명했었죠? 기억이 잘 안 나네.
저희 미팅했을 때 설명은
음,
기본적으로 다 했었고요.
음.
그 이후로는 저도 기억이 나지 않습니다. 이메일 한번 확인해 봐야 될 것 같아요.
그러니까 우리가 프로포저를 델피한테도 보내고 너에게 이만큼을 보낼 거고 샘플 스트럭처는 이렇게 되어 있고 이거를 그러니까 프로시드 하기 위해서 그냥 바로 또 MTA를 해야 될 거 아니에요. 근데 이거를 경북대랑
지난번
네,
네.
어떻게 된 거죠? 그 IRB 후에 MTA는?
지난번 IRB에 묻어가면 안 될까요?
묻어가도
이게
돼요.
네. 왜냐면
이게
새로운
그냥
회사랑
피감수니까.
다시 IRB를 내면 IRB 위원회에서 모든 회사를 컴바인해서 빅 IRB로 다시 쓰라고. 왜냐면 되게 그 Translation Research라는 개념 안에서는 실제로는 다른 스터디지만 그 위원장님이 그러실 가능성이 있어가지고요. 그렇게 되면 크레딧은 IRB까지 다시 이식이 될 수 있는 상황이어가지고 네. 네.
그래서 일반적으로 쓰는 게 진짜 제일 좋긴 해요. 그죠? 그냥 막
네.
그냥
근데
지원은 말고.
맞습니다.
근데 뭐 델피는 ctDNA고 이건 이제
네.
프로티오믹이긴 한데 모르겠어요. 블러드 바이오마커라는 개념 안에 들어가니까 저는 뭐 큰 문제 없다고 생각해요. 그 똑같은 프로토콜로 써도.
델피는 일단 앞에 IRB랑 같이 가면 될 것 같고요.
네.
프로티오믹스는 이제 어떤 스터디를 실제로 할 건지 잡히는 거 보고 완전히
네.
다른 방향이면 IRB를 새로 내고 그게
음.
아니면 그냥 원래 기존의 IRB로 같이
네.
하면 어떨까 싶습니다.
네네네. 좋아요.
네.
그러면 리안
네.
선생님이 델피랑 연락해서 너네 커밋 할 거면 우리가 샘플을 보내겠다. 뭘 어떻게 보내면 좋냐? 이게 우리 IRB 넘버고 뭐가 필요하냐? 뭐가 이제 실무적으로 똑같이. 근데 이제 델피에
네, 근데
보낼
IRB 넘버가 아직 안 나와
아직
있나요,
안
지현
나왔어요.
선생님?
아직 안 나왔어요.
뭐
네.
일단 뭐 넘버는 뭐 이제 IRB는 아직 언급하지 말고 이제 우리가 샘플 보내 그런 거 좀 얘기하고 싶다. 뭐 어디로 어떻게 보내고 뭐 그냥 너희가 동의하고 너희가 더 필요한 게 없냐 뭐 그런 팔로우업을 해주세요. 델피랑.
네,
그리고 뭐 다른 뭐 TC를 다시 해서 물어볼 게 있냐 뭐 그런 거.
그리고
그리고
어제 일진
네,
선생님께서 물어보신 것 중에 하나가 버짓인데요.
네,
그 리걸 팀끼리 버짓을 형성을 한다면 경북대랑 하냐 시카고랑 하냐 이렇게 물어보셔요. 저는 시카고랑 한다고, 왜냐면 제가 지금 또 시카고에 있기도 하니까
네,
경북대는 진짜 샘플 보내고 IRB 하고 이런 거의 문제고, 버짓 계약을 하고 이런 거는 저희 여기 노스웨스턴이랑 하게 될 것 같다고 그렇게 말씀드렸는데,
네, 그렇게
그래서
하세요. 네.
네,
네,
그것도
그리고 버짓
알아보겠다고 하시.
네, 관련해서는 휴 앤더슨한테 TC 하자고 메일 보내놓은 상태인데요. 휴가
네.
또 휴가여가지고 아직 답장을 못 받았습니다. 이번 주에 돌아온다 그래서 돌아오면은 아마 TC 시간 잡을 수 있을 것 같아요.
어, 그거를 좀 잘 연구를 해봐야 될 것 같아요. 그러니까 이제 그 IRB 상에서는 콜라보레이터고 제 위치가 콜라보레이터 이제를 PIP 정 같이 비슷하게 이제 해서 우리가 연구비를 받아야 될 것 같아서 네. 한번 그거를 알아봐서 그 스트럭처가 정해지는 대로 우리 병원 대학에서 그분들에게 인보이스를 드리는 샘플 수에 맞게 네 그렇게 하면 될 것 같아요. 네, 그거 좀 계속 팔로우업 해주세요, 리암 선생님이. 네.
그리고 그러면 루닛이랑 하는 스터디는 저희가 티슈를 루닛으로 보내게 되면 이제 루닛에서 실제 뭐를 볼 건지를 저희가 결정을 해야 되는데요. 오늘 제가 TLS 리뷰하기로 했거든요.
네네.
네, 그래서 한글로 진행할까요, 교수님?
네.
네. 네, TLS는 tertiary lymph node structure인데요. 이제 캔서에서 최근에 많이 나오는 개념이고, 특히 임뮤노세라피를 하는 캔서에서 주로 많이 다뤄지는 개념입니다. 터셜리는 말 그대로 third라는 뜻인데, 저도 사실 다 까먹었던 부분이지만 다시 한번 리뷰를 해보자면, 이제 third니까 그러면은 primary가 있고 secondary가 있을 텐데, primary는 본메로와 사이머스 이렇게 딱 두 개의 organ이 있고요. B셀과 T셀은 본메로에서 발생을 하고, B셀은 본메로에서 matured 되지만, T셀의 경우는 사이머스로 migration 해서 거기서 mature 되고요. secondary lymphoid tissue는 우리가 소위 말하는 lymph node, 그리고 턴실, 스플레인, 페이러스 패치, 마르트 이렇게 5가지를 secondary lymphoid tissue라고 저희가 정의를 하고, 주로 B셀과 T셀들을 포함하고 뿐만 아니라 마크로페이지랑 많은 인문셀들을 다 가지고 있는 말 그대로 우리가 생각하는 림포이드 티슈들이라고 생각하시면 되겠습니다. 터션의 림포이드 티슈는 사실 그 실제 림포이드 티슈는 아니고 넌 림포이드 티슈라고 정의가 되어 있는데요. 그럼에도 불구하고 실제 림포이드 티슈들처럼 액팅을 하기 때문에 보통 인펙션이나 인플라메이션이나 뭐 캔서가 왔거나 거기서 이제 임뮨 셀들이 액티베이션 되는 부분을 이야기하는 것입니다. 그래서 데피니션을 보시게 되면 그 non-lymphoid 티슈에서 임뮨 셀들이 어그리게이션 하면서 마치 림포이드 티슈인 것처럼 액팅하는 부분을 TLS라고 부르고요. 캔서 안에서는 이렇게 임뮨 셀들이 많이 모여 있는 이런 부분을 저희가 터셔널 림포이드 스트럭처 TLS라고 부르게 됩니다. TLS를 좀 더 확대해서 보게 되면 캔서에서 이렇게 TLS가 아닌 부분들도 있고요. TLS인 부분도 있는데 보통의 임문 테라피를 하는 캔서들은 TLS가 많으면 많을수록 favorable한 prognostic factor라고 되어 있어서 TLS가 많을수록 예후가 좋은 것으로 알려져 있습니다. 그래서 이런 TLS는 안에 보시면 T셀도 있고 B셀도 있고 dendritic 셀도 있고 이제 여러 가지 있는 셀들이 다 어그리게이션 되어 있기는 한데요. 최근에 나온 어떤 논문 나중에 보여드리겠지만 T셀보다 B셀이 좀 더 중요하다고 얘기를 했던 논문도 있고 또는 어떤 특정 또 캔서에서는 dendritic 셀이 훨씬 더 중요하다라고 얘기하는 페이퍼들도 있어서 아직은 TLS가 완전히 명확하게 규명되지 않았고 그 메커니즘도 아직까지는 언클리어한 상태입니다. TLS는 튜머 안에서 어떤 특정한 패턴으로 보이는 건 아니고요. 캔서마다 다르고 페이션트마다 다를 수 있는데 이 TLS가 발생하는 위치에 따라서도 사실 그 예후가 다르게 나타나고요. 스트로마에 생기는 경우 그리고 페리튜머에 생기는 경우 인트라튜머에 생기는 그 TLS에 따라서도 최근에는 어느 부분에 생긴 TLS가 더 실제 프로그노스틱 팩터로 작용을 하는지에 대한 연구들도 진행이 되고 있는 상태입니다. 그리고 매추얼드 되고 인매추얼 된 이런 부분에 대한 구분은 되기는 하는데 이거에 대한 연구는 아직은 찾아보지 못했습니다. 그래서 캔서 안에서 TLS의 역할을 보게 되면 결국은 캔서를 어떤 인펙셔스 에이전트라고 생각을 하면서 이렇게 이뮨셀들이 모여서 림포이드 티슈처럼 액팅하는 어떤 그 포션을 만드는 거를 TLS라고 부르게 되고요. 이 TLS의 컴포넌트는 앞서 말씀드린 대로 하이 엔도텔리얼 레뉴들이 당연히 있을 것이고 그리고 데նդ라이틱 셀, 보통 DC라고 표현을 하는데요. B셀, T셀이 있는데 이런 B셀과 T셀을 저희가 눈으로 바로 식별할 수가 없기 때문에 보통 코레스펀딩 마커를 붙여서 이런 마커들의 익스프레션을 보고 이게 B셀 포션인지 T셀 포션인지 저희가 보게 되고요. DC의 경우는 DC 램프 그리고 B셀은 CD20, T셀은 CD3 등으로 저희가 확인을 하게 됩니다. 그리고 이게 가장 most common한 TLS의 컴포넌트들이고 탄 캔서에서 그 외에 그 TLS들은 또 이런 뭐 케모카인도 있을 수 있고 사이토톡식 T셀, 뭐 T 레귤레이터를 다 다를 수 있지만 각각의 이런 코레스펀딩 마커들을 봄으로써 확인은 할 수 있지만 각각의 역할은 아직 규명은 되어 있지 않은 상태입니다. TLS의 타입을 나누는 것도 아직까지는 컨트로버시한데요. 2020년 페이퍼에 따르면 이렇게 뭐 그 저미널 센터 리치, B셀 리치, 뭐 DC 리치 이런 식으로 5개 나누는 페이퍼가 있었고 2017년에는 이 경우에는 3개로 나눠서 early TLS 그리고 primary follicular-like TLS, secondary 이렇게 나누는데 그 페이퍼들을 읽어보면 아직 이 타입에 대해서도 이렇게 명확하게 규정이 되지 않아서 저자들이 자기가 어떤 연구를 하기 위해서 이렇게 나누었다 이런 타입들이 대부분이었습니다. 컴포넌트는 제가 앞서 말씀드린 대로 뭐 비슷하지만 캔서별로 나눠서 봤을 때 런 캔서는 주로 DC 램프, matured DC로 저희가 그 TLS를 확인을 할 수가 있고요. 반면에 브레스트 캔서는 사실 페이퍼마다 조금 다르게 베리어스하게 나타나서 어떤 특정한 패턴을 보이는 것 같지는 않고 다만 여기 FOXP3라고 하는 게 앞서 보여드렸던 것 중에서 FOXP3가 여기 엔도텔리얼 셀이거든요. 그런데 거기서는 네거티브 프로그노스틱 밸류라고 나타났고 그 외의 것들은 포지티브로 나타났다. 그리고 런 캔서에서
잘못된
네?
거 같아요. FOXP3가 보통 T레그거든요.
네, 그러니까 이게 그냥 하나의 페이퍼예요. 이게
그러니까 아까 그거 전에
이거요?
네, 이게 T레그가 FOXP3로 연결되고 사이토톡식이 CD8로 가야 되는
이렇게인가?
하나씩 밀린 것 같아요.
아,
이 테이블이 만들어질
네네.
때
네.
네,
아, 테이블을 그대로 가지고 왔는데, 아, 예, 알겠습니다.
네,
T
얘네들-
regulatory.
네, 잘못 만든 것 같아요.
네,
엔도틸리아리 33고 31이고 이렇게 하나씩 밀린 것 같아요.
아,
네. 그러니까
케모카인이
이
이렇게.
CXCL 여기까지가 다 케모카인이 들어가고
아, 네네네.
그다음에 사이토톡식시티 CDA
CCC.
들어가고
아, 네. 아,
네, 그게
그러구나.
밀려서 얘네들도 퍼블리시된 페이퍼도 이런 식으로 타이포가
네. 네.
네, 네.
그래서 여기 그러면은 T regulatory 셀은 네거티브 프로그램 물론 하나의 그냥 아티클이 있기는 하지만 그래도
네.
꽤 많은 환자를 포함을 했던 페이퍼였고 그 외의
음,
것들은 포지티브 프로그노스틱 밸류로 보입니다.
네.
콜로렉탈에서도 최근에는 페이퍼들이 나오는데 콜로렉탈도 이런 마커들이 좀 다양하게 연구가 되고 있어서 근데
음,
런캔서는 보시는 것처럼 굉장히 이분하게 다 DC 램프를 가지고 연구들을 진행을 했고 다
음.
포지티브 리셔트를 보이는 것을 알 수가 있습니다.
그러니까 이게 많이 있을수록 포지티브 좋은
네,
치료를
예후를
거죠.
보이는. 네,
그다음에 하나는 B셀도 같이 봤네요.
네, 네, 네,
B셀이 있을 때, 뭐 DC랑 B셀이 같이 있을 때 좋았다, 뭐 이런
네.
뜻이었나 보네요.
네. 그래서 나중에 저희가 만약에 루닛이랑 이런 TLS를 한다면 이런 셀별, 그 포션별로 나눠서 실제로 예후에 관련이 어느 정도 되는지를 비교해 보는 것도 좋을 것 같습니다.
그러면 그냥
네,
지금 연구들이 다 제일 데이터가 이게 많잖아요. 그래서
네, 네,
DMF, 그다음에 CD3 T셀 하고 그때 글쎄요 CD4하고 CD8도 봐야 되지 않겠습니까?
네, 네,
4, CD8하고 그다음에 CD20 B셀,
네,
그다음에 Treg, FOXP3 포지티브,
네,
이걸 기본으로 해서 다른 것들도 이제 또 더 보고 싶은 셀들이 있으면 더 보면은 될 것 같아요. 그리고 그러니까 dendritic 셀인데
네,
우리가 또 macrophage 1, 2가 마커가 또 따로 있거든요.
네.
그래서 그 세트를 해가지고 우리가 루닛에 보냈었나요? 그때 프로포저를?
루닛의 프로포절이 아까 전에 말씀드렸지만 프로포절은 보냈습니다. 네. 그런데 이게 TLS는 포함하지 않았고
네, 그래서
네,
저희가 이제 사실은 저희도 이제 이볼빙 하는 거라서 TLS하고 저번에 얘기했던 투머 버드 스코어랑 이런 것들을 좀 사실은 어차피 우리가 티슈 블럭을 보내는 거니까
네,
또 새로운 연구를 시작하는 거 아닙니까? 그래서
네, 네,
한 번 볼 때 볼 수 있는 거 다 봐야 됩니다. 그래서
네,
그 티슈를 보낼 때 아예 그 티슈에서 우리가 예전에는 그냥 TIL만 보자, TIL만 보자라고
네,
했는데
네,
티슈 블럭을 보니까 걔네들이 가지고 있는 모든 장비를 써서 다 볼 수 있을 거
네,
아니에요. 그래서
네, 네,
아예 프로포저를 다시 좀 보강을 해가지고 이 티슈
예,
보내는 이 티슈가 이제 가 어떤 세팅에서 어디서 어떤 환자에서 나온 건지 대충 디스크라이브를 하면서 우리가 objective를 이제 이렇게 아예 이제 틸이 니오애주벤트 그 트리트먼트 리스폰스의 영향을 그것과 그 뭐야 ctDNA 다이내믹에 미치는 영향 그게 우리가 이제 primary objective라면
네,
secondary objective로 계속 다 집어넣죠. The presence
네,
of
네,
TLS,
네,
and
네,
그다음에 그 가루하고 이런 셀들 분포 이것이 어떻게 트리트먼트 영향에 미치는지 그다음에 뭐 secondary number 2는 뭐 tumor burden score in breast cancer가 또 어떻게 영향을 미쳤는지 그게 또 더 어그레시브한 팩터니까 뭐 그런 식으로 몇 개를 더 추가해서 메소드에 이제 멀티플렉스 IF를 해서 보는 마커로 이런 T셀들을 같이 보자.
네,
그리고 T도 보고 글쎄요. 여기는 헐투니까 헐투에 대한 거는 다 했잖아요. 그 경북대에서
네,
헐투 그거는 뭐 밸리데이션 할 필요가 없고 나중에 이뮤노테라피를 치료받은 거면 이제 PDL1이 중요해지겠는데 PDL1이 여기서는 중요할 것 같지 않아서 괜찮을 것 같고요. 일단은 그렇게 한번 업데이트해서 루닛에 한번 보내보죠. 네.
네, 알겠습니다.
이슈를 뭐 이만큼 보낼 겁니다. 그리고 이걸
네.
프로포즈 합니다. 그러면 뭐 이거 못 합니다. 이거는 하겠습니다. 뭐 이렇게 얘기가 나올 거 아니에요.
네,
네.
네.
네. 좋습니다.
TLS와 그 튜머 뮤테이션 버든을 본 페이퍼도 있었는데요.
오.
여기 p-value는 사실은 0.005로 이 사람들이 그 기준으로 한 게 0.05거든요. 근데 그래프는 이 시그니피컨스가 없고 디스크립션에도 그 없다고 되어 있어요.
어.
네. 그래서 그 이후로는 별 연구는 되어 있지 않습니다.
근데 TLS를
2018년
어떻게 디파인 했죠?
제가 이게 결과만 봐가지고요. 제가 메소드는 아직 자세히 못 봤습니다. 나중에 이 페이퍼 다시 한번 읽어보도록
네.
하겠습니다. 그래서 런 캔서에서는 이제 프로그노스, 근데 생각보다 이게 클리니컬 데이터랑 같이 낸 페이퍼가 많진 않습니다. 의외로 TLS는 아직은 많이 연구하고 있는 것 같진 않고요. 여기서 보시면 이렇게 TLS 하이, 로우 이렇게 나눴을 때는 차이가 나고 여기서도 여기는 여기 요 데이까지는 차이가 나는데 그 뒤는 좀 비슷하지만 어쨌든 통계학적으로는 유의한 걸로 나왔고요. 여기 TLS, TMB 다 나눠가지고 다 봤을 때는 이렇게 다 나눠진다. 그런데 이제 오버롤하게 봤을 때는 그 연관성은 없는 것 같다. 뭐 이렇게 페이퍼가 나왔습니다. 이거는 제가 좀 어려워가지고 사실은 읽다가 결과만 제가 떼가지고 왔는데요. 근데 오버롤 서바이벌은 이렇게 각각의 그룹을 다 나눴을 때 유의하지만 근데 포뮬레이션 프리 인터벌은 유의하지 않은 것으로 나타났습니다. 그리고 또 non-small cell lung cancer에서 봤을 때 이렇게 TLS가 이렇게 튜머에서 어떤 포션으로 이런 식으로 나타나게 되는데요. 패솔로지스트들이 보고 이 페이퍼에서는 TLS를 그냥 다른 용어로 표현을 했고 그걸 T-BART라는 용어로 썼는데요. 이 TI-BART를 보시게 되면 DC 램프, 하이인 경우, 로우인 경우 디지즈 프리 서바이벌은 차이가 난다고 되어 있고 재밌는 건 이게 스테이지별로 봤을 때 림프노드가 네거티브인 T 스테이지와 상관없이 림프노드가 네거티브인 경우는 DC 램프 하이처럼 이렇게 better prognosis로 보이지만 T 스테이지가 낮음에도 불구하고 림프노드가 포지티브인 경우는 DC 램프 로우처럼 이렇게 아웃컴이 떨어지는 걸 볼 수가 있고요. 그래서 TLS 하이인 튜머에서는 림프노드 메타가 좀 적나? 적어지나? 여기 이미 임문 셀들이 튜머 안에서 싸워버리니까 그 다음 이제 림프노드로 넘어가는 게 어떤 배리어 역할을 하지 않을까 하는 생각을 해봤습니다.
저 여기 그러니까 그래프가 B는 B에 림프노드가 있고 없고에 상관없이 한 건가요? B는 N1, N0가 합쳐져 있는 그래프.
네네네. 이거는 토탈입니다. 네, 토탈을 그냥 단순히 이렇게 두 개로만 나눠가지고.
근데 C는 그냥 림프노드 그 C는 TLS랑 무슨 상관이 있죠, 이 그래프가?
그냥 이거랑 비교를 하려고 했던 것 같아요.
그냥 그거를 네,
네네. 그러니까 그래프 패턴이
네,
림프노드가 네거티브인 분은 DC 램프랑 그래프 패턴이 좀 비슷하게 갔고
네,
림프노드 포지티브인 경우는 로우랑 패턴이 비슷하게 간다.
알겠습니다.
그래서 이면 체크포인트 에피커시를 봤던 페이퍼도 있고요. 근데
이거
이거는 사실
네이처 캔서에 네이처 캔서에 나왔어요.
네네.
ITLS랑 MTLS는 뭐가 차이죠?
이게 뭐였더라? 잠시만요. 아, mature가 immature.
아, mature, immature.
네네네.
그래서 그게 차이가 나나요? mature, immature가?
네, 차이가 나는 것으로. mature가 immature는 그냥 포션을 받고요.
네.
mature, TLS, positive, negative. 그러니까
음,
나눠서 봤을 때
음.
차이가 나는 것으로 돼요.
그러니까 mature가 중요하나 보네요. immature.
네네.
네. 그리고 잠깐만요. 이게
네.
다 합친 건가요? 모든 캔서를?
네, 여기 테이블에 보시는 것처럼 여러 캔서들.
신기하네. 뭐 가끔씩 이렇게 합치기도 해요. 리뷰어들이 딴지 안 걸면 그냥
네,
보통은 히스톨로지가 다르면 히스톨로지 믹스
네.
비율과 이런 거에 따라서 다 너무 달라지기 때문에 합치진 않는데 뭐 가끔씩 이렇게 하기도 합니다.
네,
그래도 런캔서가 제일 많고 그 다음에
네, 네.
클러드네요. 음, 네.
이건 최근에 나온 런캔서에서 B셀, 그러니까 TLS 안에서 B셀 프레젠스에 따라서 이제 비교를 했던 페이퍼인데요. 이거 뭐 CD램프 아까 보여드렸던 B셀, T셀 다 그 마커들을 봐서
네.
이게 어느 셀이 도미넌트한지를
네.
구분을 했고요. 여기서 보시면
잠시만요.
네,
이게 보면은 빛셀 지금 색깔이 다 다르구나. 이게 빨간색이 빛셀이 꽤 많이 이렇게 모여 있고 CD21이 follicular dendritic 셀. 네, dendritic 셀이 가운데 이렇게 동그랗게 막 21 있고 CD3는 T셀들이 좀 빛셀 바깥쪽에 주로 포진해 있고 B셀이 있고 CD68은 이거는 매크로페이지 68이 무슨 셀이었죠? 매크로페이지인가? 네,
네,
매크로페이지. 네,
매크로페이지.
매크로페이지들이 B셀 사이에 이렇게 엄청나게 많이 또 들어있네요. 네, 그래서 이게 다 런캔서에서 이런 식으로 투모 안에
네.
있다는 거죠. 네,
네, 그러니까 TLS 안에서도 이 패턴들이 다 조금씩 다르게 나타나고 있고,
네,
여기서는 폴리큘라 빗셀과 덴드라이틱 셀을 나누어서 이거를 레이시오로도 비교를 해봤고요.
음,
근데 아주 다양한 연구들이 시도가 되고 있고, 대부분은 그 시그니피컨스가 있는 걸 가지고 페이퍼를 쓰니까 굉장히 다양하게 나타나기는 한데 어쨌든 분명한 거는 TLS가 캔서, 특히 이뮤노세라피를 하는 캔서에서는 아주 중요한 역할을 하고 있다는 게 느껴지고 있고요.
네,
베스트 프로그노시스는 하이 그룹에서 나타나는 걸 보시고 있습니다.
네. 이거 뭐야 이순 선생님 제가 그 윌리엄 베가 썼던 그 페이퍼 있잖아요.
네.
그 페이퍼를 온라인으로 퍼블리시 했잖아요. 그 링크 있잖아요.
네.
그거를 지현 선생님한테 좀 보내주세요.
네.
그래서 그거 좀 읽어보시고 제가 그 페이퍼를 다시 이제 좀 부활시키려고 하니까
네.
그걸 이순 선생님이랑 지현 선생님이 같이 하면 좋을 것 같아요. 이 주제가 너무 지금 타임리해서
네.
그러니까 그때도 얘기했지만 수학에서 뉴로엔도크라인에서 빗셀의 중요성이 부각되고 있고 저희가 진짜 윌리엄이 인턴하기 전이 윌리엄이 지금 펠로우인데 윌리엄 한 5년 전에 저희 랩에서 썼던 페이퍼예요. 그래서
CPR을 해야 돼.
CPR
네.
그러니까 뭐냐면 TCGA를 가지고 X셀하고 이거 유지상 선생님도 마찬가지인데 RNA 갖고 막 알고리즘을 짜갖고 뭘 하면요 맨날 똑같은 그 크리티사이즈이 나오는데 아 이거는 프로틴 매저한 거 아니니까 정확하지 않다. 뭐 있으면 했지. 지금 우리 데이터도 아니고 TCGA 갖고 하는 건데 그래서 근데 이거는 그냥 리미테이션이고 뭐 그거 이거 퍼블리시 싫으면은 싫은 거고 다른 저널
네.
빨리 가야 되는 거
네.
이런 네네네 왜 프로틴을 안 했냐 뭐 우리 샘플이 아니기 때문에 어차피 네 이것도
네.
보면은 아마 TCGA 갖고 했을걸요. 이 정도 데이터면 뭐 중국 사람들은 워낙 병원 데이터가 커서 막 500명 막 600명 하는데
그 TCGA RNA 시퀀싱 데이터를
맞습니다.
한 것 같아요.
이 데이터는 혹시 TCGA인지 아십니까? 지금 보여주시고 있는 그래프?
이거는 페이션트 TCG 아닌 것 같습니다. 그러면 네, 어떤 본인들 센터 데이터였던 걸로 기억을
네,
하는데.
그런 것 같아요.
네.
이거 TCGA에서는 이런 스테이닝이 없기 때문에 그래서 제 말은 이런 것들을
네.
그 B셀, 폴리큘러 B셀 또 아까 그 덴드리틱 셀 그런 레이쇼들을 RNA로 재구성해 볼 수 있거든요. 진 익스프레션 그걸로.
음,
그래서 TCG에서 볼 수도 있고 뭐 어쨌든 우리가 볼 수 있는 것 저희가 또 템퍼스 데이터도 있기 때문에 템퍼스는 다 RNA 데이터가 있어서 저희 병원 데이터도 볼 수 있고 그래서 비슷한 것들을 런캔서에서 해볼 수가 있어요. 이제 롱텀 이제 프로젝트로. 근데 일단은 그 윌리엄이 썼던 페이퍼를 한번 읽어보시고
네.
그거는 되게 신기한 게 T셀하고 B셀이랑 역관계에 있어요 항상.
아, 아,
근데 보통 이제 TLS로 얘기를 진행하면 같이 있잖아요. 그런데
네, 네.
이상하게 CD4가 아니라 CD8하고 B셀하고는 좀 반대돼요.
CD4하고는 비슷한가요?
CD4는 별 관계가 없었던 것 같아요. 네.
음,
이 선생님이 지금 네 링크를 보여줬는데 어 제가 잠깐 이거 화면 공유해 볼게요.
네.
화면 공유.
유진 선생님 들어오셨어요.
네, 유진 선생님 들어오셨나요? 또 없어졌네. 있나? 네, 보이십니까? 이 페이퍼
보입니다.
잠깐 설명해 드리고 싶어서 이게 바이오 RXIV 리저브 뭐 콜드스프링 하버에서 하고 이제 워낙 저널들이 진짜 돈만 받아갖고 막 진짜 이상한 저널 너무 많거든요. 근데 이거는 퍼블리시 하기 전에 이게 지금 언제 날짜가 있나요 여기? 여기 있다.
2019년.
2019년.
네.
그러니까 이때 쓴 게 아니라 이걸 계속 리젝트를 먹어가지고 어딘가는 좀 내야 되겠다. 그래가지고 올린 거예요. 이거는 리뷰어들이 리뷰하는 게 아니라 그냥 누구나 다 프리프린트.
볼 수,
그래서 이게 특허 이런 거에 되게 중요해요. 우리가 써서 왜냐면 리뷰하다가 딴 그룹이 먼저 해버리면 뺏기잖아요.
네.
네, 그래서 이렇게 해갖고 이걸로 다 페이스북, 트위트 뭐 다 할 수 있어요. 이메일 보내고 다. PDF도 다운로드 할 수 있고. 보시면 그때 쓴 페이퍼잖아요, 여기. 그래서 우리가 다 봤어요, 그때. 이미노제닉, 블레더, 헤드앤넥, 렁, 아데노, 스퀘이머스, 멜라노마, 리날셀. 그래갖고 거의 3,000명 환자를 다 분석했는데 tumor infiltrating activated B셀이 regulatory T셀 infiltration이랑 같이 가요, 이상하게. 근데 CD8이랑은 거꾸로 가죠. 보통 Treg랑 CD8이 거꾸로 가긴 해요. 펑션이 다르니까. 근데 이제 그게 B셀이 이렇게 엮여 있을 줄은 우리도 처음 봤어요. 그게 항상 6개의 암에서 다 그렇게 나타나요. 그리고 이런 다른 체크포인트들과의 관계 이런 것들도 보고 서바이벌이랑 그렇지만 연결은 없었어요. 그런 것들을 어떻게 우리가 계산했고 뭐 그때 이렇게 각각 셀들의 분포 odds ratio로 이렇게 찾아봤죠. 이렇게. 그리고 각각의 activated BC에 대해서 얼마나 다른지. 그리고 이제 예우랑은 B셀이 관계가 없다는 것도 이렇게 보여줬고, 이게 다 스테이닝이 아니라 RNA 시퀀싱 데이터 가지고 논문을 쓴 거예요. 이게 지금 아직까지도 퍼블리시 안 됐는데 저는 TCG에서 이걸 보여준 것만 해도 당연히 퍼블리시 될 만한 거라고 생각하는데 어쨌든 요거를 CPR을 한번 해봅시다. 네, 그래서 만약에 뭐 더 지금 방금 보여준 페이퍼에서 본 것처럼 뭐 재밌는 게 있으면 더 분석을 첨가해서 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 한번.
네.
네.
뒤에는 제가 좀
해보실까요?
빨리빨리 넘어갈게요. 이거는 여기도 EPUB이어가지고 아직 페이퍼는 전체를 보진 못했고요.
네.
이뮤노세라피는 관련이 있지만 그 키모랑은 관련이 없다. 여기서도 mature TLS를 가지고 이야기를 하고요.
네.
그리고 브레스트 캔서는 아직 굉장히 페이퍼들 자체가 적은데 여기에 보시면 그래도 TLS가 있는 것들이 분명히 브레스트 캔서에도 프로그노스틱 팩터로 작용을 하는 것 같다. 이게 최근에 페이퍼가 나왔고요. 이게 그 리뷰 아티클인데 디즈 프리 서바이벌도 그렇고 오버롤 서바이벌도 그렇고 이렇게 나타났습니다. 이거는 TLS 로우 하이 이렇게 비교를 했고 그리고 차이가 나는 걸로 브레스트 캔서에서도 아주 조금씩이지만 이렇게 나오는 것 같고요. 이 그룹에서는 또 어드저센트 TLS 그리고 디스턴트 TLS 이렇게 두 개로 나눠가지고 네네 그렇게 또 보기도 했고요. 그런데 여기 서브그룹별로 보시면 어드저센트 TLS는 거의 모든 서브그룹에서 아주 높게 다 잘 나타나고요.
네.
근데 디지털 TLS의 경우는 헐투와 트리플 네거티브에서만 50% 이상으로 나타나고 호르몬 파지티브를 가지는 그 서브타입에서는 이게 그 렐러티브하게 좀 낮게 나타나는 것을 볼 수가 있습니다. 그래서 이렇게 나눠서 연구를 하는 것도 하나의 방법이 될 수 있을 것 같아요.
네, 디스턴트는 뭐에서 거리를 계산한 거예요?
이게 자기네들이 이제 패돌로지스트가 이거를 정의를 내려줬는데요. 이게
네.
튜머 마진을 그려가지고 그 튜머 마진 내부에 있으면 그 인필트레이트 튜머 마진을 그려가지고 이제 거기서부터 이제 어드저스트인지 디스탈인지를 결정을 했더라고요. 네. 이게 거리가 몇 밀리미터가 있었던 것 같은데 제가 정확한 데이터를 기억을 못해요.
네.
여기 네 이쪽이 캔서거든요. 여기가 지금 노멀 브레스트고 그런데 여기 마진에서 되게 가까운 데를 어드저스트 TL 이거는 인트라는 아니고요. 네, 여기 페리튜모랄 그쯤 되는 것 같고요.
에서
디스털은 네.
거리로. 네. 신기하네. 인트라는 상대적으로 별로 없었나 보네요.
네,
연구를 안 한 거 보니까.
네, 그런 것 같습니다.
알겠습니다.
그래서 여기서도 다 나눠서 봤었고요. 그래서 뭐 아직까지 브레스트 캔서는 이뮤노세라피를 하는 경우가 사실은 많지 않기 때문에 TLS가 좀 연구가 좀 약한 것 같긴 하고 그렇지만 얼마든지 저희가 적어도 그 패턴을 분석하는 거는 해볼 수 있을 것 같고요. 그거 가지고 PCR을 얼마만큼 이게 프로그노스틱 팩터지 프리딕티브 마커는 아니거든요. 현재까지 밝혀진 바로는. 그런데
맞아요.
네, 그거를 아직도 본 페이퍼는 없기 때문에
맞습니다.
볼
그래서
수
이
있어요.
리뷰의 가장 큰 목적은 아직 아무도 안 봤다. 이걸
맞습니다.
확인하는 데 있어요.
네, 네.
그게 중요합니다.
그래서 해볼 수 있는 거는 굉장히 많은데 그 중에서 뭘 볼 건지를 저희가 좀 더 구체적으로 고민을 해봐야 될 것 같아요.
네, 맞습니다. 네.
그래서 다음 주에는 튜머 버딩으로 돌아오겠죠.
네, 너무 좋습니다. 아까 TLS도 지금 보니까
네네.
루닛이 이미 다 그려놓고 이렇게 다 해놨잖아요. 그래서
네네.
TLS가 어딘지 잘 모르면 제가 보기에는 루닛이랑 얘기할 때 포인트가 일단 틸은 어디 있는지 아니까 틸의 모양과 이런 것으로 이게 그러니까 틸들이 이렇게 쿵쿵쿵쿵 있는 것보다 이렇게 모양을 갖춰서 있다면
네.
물론 그거를 이렇게 슬라이스해서 알아보면 좋은데 그러니까 B셀, T셀을 스테이닝하면 좋은데 그게 어려우니까 이제 베리데이션을 해보고 어떻게 TLS를 예측할 수 있는 알고리즘을 이제 만들 수 있잖아요. 어떻게 보면은 HN 슬라이드로 계속 B셀, T셀로 베리데이션 한 것들과 같이 이게 트레이닝을 시키면 TLS 예측 알고리즘을 같이 만들어 보고 이제 그것들이 PCR이든 뭐 이뮤노테라피 프리딕션이든 지금 삼성 데이터도 HN 슬라이드가 있지 않습니까?
네.
삼성 그 한 500명 되는 데이터인데 네. 그렇게 TLS 프리딕션 모델도 거기 프로포절에 같이 개발해보자. 베리데이션 하면서 투머 버딩도 같이 개발해보자. AI 프리딕션 모델을 만들어보자. 그렇게 프로포절에다 쓰시고 그 다음에 TLS도 새로운 그런 분류를 같이 한번 해보자. 다 쓰세요. 기존의
네.
adjacent, distant, intratumoral, stromal 그것들이 정말 다 다른지 그리고 TLS도 B셀 도미넌트한 게 있고 dendritic 셀 T-reg가 도미넌트한 게 있고 다르잖아요. 그러니까
네.
그런 컴포지션에 따라서 다른 또 TLS 영향이 다 다를 테니까 그런 이펙트도 한번 보고 근데 지금 리뷰한 걸 보니까 중요한 거는 맞는 것 같아요. 그렇죠? 중요한 건 맞는 것
네.
같고 실제 되게 프리딕티브 할 것 같아요. 특히 리보 EP 이런 걸 쓰면 EP는 또 다른 데서 데리고 오고 막 B셀이 영향을 미칠 것 같고 막 우리 모르는 것들이 너무 많아서 네 그리고 진짜 이뮤노테라피를 안 써도 헐투 같은 걸 써도 영향을 미치는 것 같아요. 그죠? 그래서 그런 것들을 우리가 프리딕티브하게 결국은 우리는 클리니션이기 때문에 프리딕티브한 걸 좋아합니다. 네, 그래서 그런 것들을 처음으로 보여주는 것에 의의를 갖자. 뭐 이렇게 오늘 해볼게요. 네.
네. 제가 오늘 준비한 거는 여기까지.
네. 한 10분 브레이크 세션을 갖고 그 다음에 오유진 선생님이랑 네 리아 선생님, 지상 선생님 거 하겠습니다. 네. 클래스 업데이트.
So one of Eugene's patient is not doing well and they need to transfer him or her, I don't know, to a university hospital. So I think she's busy at the moment.
Let me share my screen.
So we just recently had after Mr. Stefan, another patient who was a mucinous adeno in ICU waiting for lung transplant. I just got a text message from my fellow. Said she expired this morning. So it's so sad. Just waiting for a lung transplant and people are dying. And I saw that new patient with Liam yesterday, and it was in, kind of stark contrast with, we had a patient waited for, was it 14 days, Liam? She said she waited
10 days.
10 days, 10 days. Yeah. And some people wait longer than that and they just can't wait. Their lungs don't wait and they expire. So it's really sad. It's kind of depressing to see more patients just waiting and dying. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's why we have to get the word out there, and you just have to start the transplant workups, sooner than later. Yeah.
Oh, Eugen, are you ready to share? Or are you busy?
Oh
right
yeah,
now?
I just wanna, yeah, if that's not too much, can I just share one abstract for AACR first? I'm willing to share the other project later on, but then I think for the AACR abstract, if I finish it, I think Juhi can go as well. So, and it won't take long. Like, just can you hear me? Or
Yes.
okay, can I go first for just
Yep.
for the abstract?
Yep.
Okay. I'll share my screen. So, Dr. Shea, we were able to make a second abstract for AACR regarding cancer screening data. So, can you see
Mhm.
the screen? You want me to share this link with you in the chat room?
No, this is short enough. This is okay.
Yeah, so for this one, for tissue of origin abstract, I kind of summarized all the pooled results because we only included 4 studies. And originally for the manuscript, there were 2 figures about this, showing the total accuracy of prediction, regardless of the cancer type. And then the figure about each different cancer type, but I try to summarize them all into a table. You can see the result here. I also wrote down events and total cases that are included for each cancer type. I didn't write the number of study included because like all 4 cohort studies were analyzed for these results. And then other than that, I try to look at like what was kind of most frequently misclassified cancer types for each specific cancer type. So actually I did meta-analysis for this as well, but then because we cannot put figures so I try to kind of describe what I found here in the right column. So basically it means like for breast cancer, among the 4 studies, they predicted correctly around 86%, but then for some studies where they reported kind of what kind of types they misclassified, I try to sum them up and then try to put the nominator as well. So for breast, among over 200, 20 cases are detected as colorectal wrongly, and for pancreas and gallbladder and lung cancer, there were 4 cases for each group.
So that's not
I'm not
obvious. You have slash and you have comma, so for each, we don't know if it's for each group or not.
yeah, this is the only case because the case number were identical, so I just to save the space, I did that. But then other than that, I just wrote down every cases.
So
I mean, we can,
what is the denominator in the misclassified cancer type? It's all different.
yeah, for that, I'll just show you the what I did. So this is the TOO, the main result, like pulling up all the results of 4 studies, regardless of cancer type. And then I separated the results based on each different cancer types. And then what I did is I just collected all the kind of misclassification of for each different cancer type. For upper GI cancer, which means stomach and esophagus, three of the studies, 3 among 4 studies, reported like what they predicted instead of GI cancer for GI cancer. So, for example, Cohen, among 80, 35 cases were detected as diagnosed as or identified as colorectal, although like 80 was all like upper GI cancer. So I try to see what kind. So I was just curious that I just thought it would be meaningful if we can know like frequently classified types for each different cancer types. That's kind of what I try to do. But then if it's not clinically meaningful, I think we can get rid of it as well.
아, 맞다. 한국말로 해도 됩니다, 지금은. 여기서
네.
네. 그 분모가 제
그러니까 가령
생각에는
이렇게
아까 표에 다 똑같아야 될 것 같거든요, 제 생각에는.
근데 사실 다 똑같기가 조금
그러니까 브레스트를 보면은 538에서 443을 뺀 게 아니, 225가 어떻게 나왔어요, 지금?
보시면 일단 이 4개 스터디가 다 미스클래시피케이션을 발표한 건 아니고 3개만 그 정보가 있어요. 그거를 써줘야 될 것 같긴 한데 뭐 브레스트 같은 경우를 보면 그러니까 보통 브레스트는 아까 총 538이지만
네.
한 스터디를 빼면 총 349 케이스가 되거든요.
네.
거기서 만약에 콜로렉텀으로 오해한 케이스는 70케이스 중에 18이랑 155 중에 2 케이스였으니까 제가 그걸 합한 거예요.
아. 그렇게 하면 안 될 것 같고요. 분모는 349가 돼야 될 것 같아요.
그러면
그러니까
근데
4개 중에
그러면은
하나는 미스클래시피케이션을 한 거가 모르는 그런 정보가 없다는 거고. 네. 그러니까 3개 스터디 중에 2개는 콜로렉탈을 했지만 하나는 콜로렉탈로 미스클래시피케이션을 안 한 거 아니에요.
네.
그러니까 그것도 들어가야죠, 분모로.
어쨌든 분모는 다 이게 돼야 된다는 말씀이신
그렇죠.
거죠?
거기에서 콜로렉탈을 미스클래시피케이션 한 거를 보고를 0으로 하든 18로 하든 그거 다 더한 거니까.
그게 더 맞는 것 같긴 하네요.
그래서
아니면 네.
분모는 그러니까 여기 메소드에 모르겠어요. 칸이 있을지 모르겠는데 없으면 안 써도 되고 이건 앱스트랙트니까 실제 논문에는 우리가 지금 이것도 좋은 거예요. 미스클래시피케이션이 어떻게 되는지 사람들이 궁금해할 것 같아요. 그래서 실제 논문에 써주면 좋겠고요. 써줄 때는 메소드에 프리딕션 할 때는 4개의 스터디를 했고 리스크 클래시파이드 분석을 할 때는 3개의 스터디를 해서 그 분모는 그 3개 스터디 풀링 했을 때의 브레스트랑 이걸로 다 동일해야 돼요. 지금 다 다르잖아요, 분모가.
네, 제가 잘못 생각했던 것 같습니다. 다 같게 할 수는 있어요. 네.
네. 그걸만 고쳐주세요.
그러면 그거 고쳐서 이 표는 이 형식대로 가도 될까요?
네, 괜찮아요.
네. 그리고 표가 800캐릭터여서 그 글자 수
그리고
맞추느라고.
브레스트 럼 콜로렉탈 이거를
네.
그러니까 지금 항상 오더를 정해야 되거든요. 뭘로
아,
오더를 그냥 랜덤으로 한 거예요.
아니 오더는 그 빈도수가 가장 높은 걸로 했는데요. 제가 분모를 사실 같게 네, 보시면 그 숫자가 그러니까 뭐 frequency에 근거해서 한 거예요.
네. Oh, Sam's here. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Hi, hello.
So we
So now,
were talking about the tissue of origin prediction from the multi-cancer early detection assay. So my point for table 1 is that you either put this in order of accuracy or in order of the largest sample.
for this column.
I think I would do based on the accuracy.
Okay, I can reorder that definitely. But what about this? Do you have any like preference for this ordering, like here?
Yeah, the highest percentage to the lowest percentage.
Okay, so for this and this, I'm gonna reorder based on percentage.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay. Could you briefly look at the manuscript itself, or
yeah, this is warranted of note. I mean, just make sure the grammar is correct. Is a warrant examination? What does that mean? Developing. What does that mean? I don't know what you want to say.
could you I lost you. Where word examination?
Now, I don't know what you're trying to say with the first sentence. Develop their diagnostic performance warrants examination. Does that make sense?
So it's supposed to say, as we have more MCD tests, someone needs to examine how they perform in terms of diagnostic tests, like as a diagnostic tool.
That's so general. I don't think we need that sentence because
Okay.
this abstract is not talking about the sensitivity specificity. We are only interested in tissue of origin. So
Okay.
we're saying more MTD assays are being developed. That's it. And these assays can predict tissue of origin in many platforms, but understanding its accuracy across different platforms is important. Something like that, yeah. Okay, I think The findings are okay. Well, I guess I don't know if you have room, but miscalculation, what is the most, what is
We can
the,
definitely make, yeah, more
yeah,
room
the frequently misclassified the cancer types.
were identified.
Is it colorectal?
It's hard. It's hard to say that. So you mean like overally or for each
Yeah,
different cancer
overall.
type? I didn't actually analyze that. I just see misclassification based on each different cancer type. I can like pull them up, but I'm not sure whether that would be meaningful. But like when I just that simply some of the misclassification, I expect that colorectal will be most frequently.
Yeah, so I would add one sentence about your misclassified results. If you have room.
Okay.
Say, you can say a lot of cancers were misclassified as colorectal
That
when
would
they
be
weren't,
working.
when they weren't in fact colorectal or something. I mean, that's by this table, that's what we see here.
Correct.
So I would say 79%, not about 4 out of 5 cases. I don't know, maybe it's it's okay to leave it, but I would still put, I know you put it up there, but 79% in the parenthesis, just to be more exact. This is, yeah,
Yeah.
after 5 cases, just put that in parenthesis, 79%.
Should we just do it out 4 or 5? 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't need cases. Performance could be different across cancer types. I don't like could be different. Varies across maybe.
But because we didn't see any statistically meaningful difference according to cancer type, but the trends is there, I think. So I just want to give them like possibility, but
Or you can say may vary. I don't know. Because you can't, yeah, it's hard to show a difference.
mhm.
I guess, can you show difference between the highest and lowest?
Not even for that. So the highest is colorectal, and the lowest, their confidence interval is actually overlapping.
Okay.
Yeah, slightly.
So I would say there, you can, so you have to argue one way. Say that there were no significant difference between difference in accuracy of prediction across histologies, although they may vary in the range of 68% to 86% or something like that.
Okay. So
Although the difference, I guess,
Maybe I could,
I think you wrote it in the findings, so. However, the performance may vary across. May vary. I think it's okay. I think it's how you, it's, I think it's okay to leave it like this. Let the readers decide how they want to interpret. It's okay. So I think you're good to submit.
yeah, okay, I'll just retouch a little bit for table and things. Yeah, okay.
Could you, sorry, could you go back to the background part? What do you think about just making it into one sentence? Do you think that makes sense, Professor?
What?
The as more blood-based multi-cancer related
Mm,
tests are being developed? Or do you want multiple sentences? Or is that one sentence gonna suffice?
Multiple sentences fine. That's not, they're short enough. It's fine.
Wait, so you don't want this one, you want the upper one?
Oh, I didn't realize you had two.
Yeah, we have two. So the upper one is like longer, and explaining more. The shorter one kind of got rid of most words.
I like the lower one. Let's go with that one.
Okay. The as more blood thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we good?
Yep.
Okay.
okay, and can I, I think Jisang, you need to present a lot, right? Or can I go on with the things that I have to present a little bit more? Or
Sure.
Yeah. Eugene, you should finish. I can talk to Jisang here anytime, so.
okay. So other than this cancer screening abstract, I meant to actually bring the real abstract for cancer incidence, but I just finished the analysis, so I haven't written anything yet, but I could show you the result, and I think it won't be taking so long to write up everything that I found. So I finally was able to pull up the data for cancer incidence after transfusion. So as you recommended, I looked up the most frequent top 10 or 13 cancers, and I just focused on that cancer types. And I ordered that as this list as well. So here we start with breast. So what I did was, I didn't bring the article that I found where I got confidence about doing this in this way, pulling up different estimates. But I'm pretty sure we can do that for a specific reason. And because we only have a handful of studies, only 5 studies reporting their results in all different estimates, I think there's no way for us to pull it up other than this way. I'll pull them up. So for breast, these are 5 studies included. And then the reason I included multiple data for each study is that sometimes they didn't report the single representative value for cancer type. They reported the estimates depending on each different time range they set. So I kind of include them as well. So these are the total results about breast cancer. And it shows the confidence interval includes 1. So I would say No, actually, this is incidence. So the risk is on like 0.906. Oh, actually, it's big. Yeah, I think because confidence interval includes 1, we can say that for breast cancer, there's no higher risk of developing cancer compared to the non-transfused patient group among transfused group. Does
Okay.
that make sense? Yeah.
But
And what
but
I did next,
the relative risk, RR is relative risk,
yes,
SIR is standard incident rate,
yes, correct.
but how can you pull them together?
There is a study where all different kind of risks are pulled up.
Okay,
So
I mean,
what
I don't know the statistical basis of pulling it, but if someone has done it and published it and maybe it's more than one, then maybe it's doable.
I guess so, yeah. And then what I did next is try to differentiate this result into different time interval. So as you know, like all different studies have different like time intervals. So I try to classify them into up to 5 years is 1, and 5 to 15 years is 2, and 3 means like after 15 years. So the overall results is pretty similar, but yeah, for breast, and actually I want to ask you this. So because of lack of studies, like for some like time interval group, there is only like 2 or 1 studies. Do you think does it make sense? I know there at least we have like 2 or 3 studies for meta, but do you know anything about like subgroup analysis as well?
I think you can still report. I mean, this is all we have.
Yes, that's correct. And I even think about trying to like split this number 1 group, but it was so hard to set the time interval for these like heterogeneous like time intervals. So 5 to 15 and 15 years was the best I could come up with.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, so for lung, definitely it has a higher risk of developing lung cancer among like transfused group. And actually, yeah, although there were some difference in magnitude, overall they all reported higher incidence, regardless of the time interval. And colon cancer, pretty same as well. But the trend is, it was so interesting to notice that the possibilities of incidence is kind of decreasing according time goes by. For lung, I'm not sure, but then colon, even colon was only there was only high incidence among like within 5 years. After 5 years, yeah, we're not sure because there's only 1 study included, but there was no statistical significance. And rectum is a little bit similar with colon. And yeah, I think it still has a little bit of trend. And prostate cancer, it was not significantly increased after transfusion, similar to breast. And yeah, it was consistent when we divide them into different time interval. And stomach, definitely higher risk. Also noted for, especially for the earlier period until like 15 years. Liver definitely higher. Liver was the most robust, most like prominent cancer, which has increased incidence after blood transfusion. So all time interval, they appear to have higher incidence among transfused group. And thyroid, not significant in all time interval, and bladder cancer, yeah, significantly higher. And similarly, the significance were there for earlier period. And non-Hodgkin lymphoma was higher. And like liver cancer, it all showed significantly higher risk across 3 different intervals. Maybe, and I think it's kind of robust because we all have at least 3 studies in each like time period. And for pancreas, that's higher. It was a little bit interesting to notice that all like GI related cancers are appearing to have higher incidence after transfusion.
Okay.
Although, yeah. And leukemia, like non-Hodgkin lymphoma, it shows similar trends. And for leukemia, only a high, remarkably significant for time period 1, although they have pretty significant number of studies for each time period. The significance disappeared as time went on. And kidney high, yeah, they reported high incidence. Similar trends. Last cancer is uterus. It was not significantly correlated with blood transfusion. Dr. Say, I finished it. So I'm thinking of classifying each different cancer type according to the results and trend.
Okay.
And because we cannot submit figure, as far as I know, I would just make a table like I did for abstract for cancer screening, the pulled up results into a table. And I'll show you the manuscript, the abstract itself within this week.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, and then I'll start working on the manuscript of this cancer incidence as well.
Okay, good. So maybe in the method, you have to describe the method of pulling the OR, RR, SIR together, and then you can at least put author's name and the year of publication so that people know that it's feasible.
Okay, so you mean putting another example showing the way that I did. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all. And last thing I want to ask you to look at is so I try to do landmark analysis for hyperprogression data. So the article that I referred to was, sorry. Oh, so this one, I noticed that as the other professor commented on me, pretty much all like hyperprogressive, articles dealing with hyperprogressive disease, they used not just survival analysis, but landmark analysis. So I noticed here, they like 6-week landmark analysis. They set like time period for seeing hyperprogressive disease and their relationship with survivor or progression-free survival. So I kind of imitate them, what they did. And for us, for Champia, I noticed that the median time point when hyperprogression was detected by Champia definition was about 5.6 weeks. So I set the landmark time point as a 6 week. And I noticed that for some papers, they did kind of a different time, they analyzed with different time points as well. So I kind of modified our landmark into 4 weeks and 8 weeks as well. So, but then there were not a significant difference regarding the correlation between hyperprogression and overall survival. So can I just put this middle figure as a representative one, and then just describe other results in the manuscript?
Yes.
Okay,
Other
but then
ones that, could be in supplemental figures.
could be in supplementary figure. Okay,
Yeah.
and then for but then for Sarabusid, I found out that the time point when they detected as hyperprogression by Sarabusid definition was a little bit different from Champia. So for Sarabusid, it was about 8 weeks. So I put the landmark as a 9 week, and I modified them into 6 and 12 week. But I'm not sure whether I did right, because I put the gap for Champia for 2 weeks, like 4, 6, 8. But then I put 3 weeks interval. I don't know why I did that at that time, but I can definitely modify that. So you want me to kind of match that time period for modification? It would be like 7, 9, 11 if I apply like 2 weeks interval. But then I can do like 3, 6, 9 weeks if I set 3 weeks as an interval.
I don't think it matters much, but I think whatever,
Okay.
just following what the other paper have done is enough.
Oh,
6
okay.
weeks.
They did 6 weeks, and then they did 4 and 8. That's why I did in this way. But then then I'll just use that 2 week interval for modification.
Okay.
Okay, so these are OS and these are PFS. So, and there were no significant differences among the results. And one more thing is, so as you recommended, Dr. Jian updated the patient list, getting rid of some small cell lung cancer patients, right? So that actually has an impact on our result as well.
Okay.
So I'm not sure whether you remember the exact number, but definitely the number of patients who are detected as having hyperprogression decreased. So for Champia, we only have 3 patients for single regimen and 4 patients for multiple regimen. And for Sarabusid, 8 patients for single and 10 patients in multiple. So it definitely decreased from the previous data set. And I think that also has an impact on the exact results in a specific results. So I'm kind of still finalizing the results, but for overall survivor, I assume that you remember there were some, like the gender or the stage, it was not stage, but the histology. There were some factors that were correlated with overall survival. But after we reset up the patient list, the only significant factor was smoking status. And other than that, there were, all the significance just disappeared. But then, yeah, the hyperprogression itself was definitely remaining as a significant factor for survival. So
That's
yeah, I just
okay.
want to update. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so these are major changes that was made for this project, and as soon as I finalize all the tables and figures, I would help Arnie to write manuscript as well.
good.
So that's all I have for today. Yeah, I'll unshare.
Okay, yeah, I think, yeah. I have no further comments. Just work on those two abstracts. It'll be okay.
Dr.
Okay.
Chase, so I had a question.
Mhm.
So with going back to the MCED paper and the TOO tumor of origin abstract.
Mhm.
So the TOO analysis, that's something new that Eugen did for the purpose of the abstract. So we don't have much mention of TOO related analyses or discussions in the actual manuscript that we wrote up. So the question is, like, would you like to include that in the current manuscript, or do you want that to be separate? Because the manuscript is pretty much wrapped up, and we filled up the 3,500 word count. So
I see.
in my opinion, I think it's going to be difficult to squeeze it in there. What do you think, Eugen, right?
I totally agree with you, and my suggestion would be when we receive, probably with a high chance, when we receive like comment or when we have a chance to resubmit it, then we could definitely include at that moment. Additionally.
Later to like
Yeah, later
subsequent
on.
journals if they have like longer word counts, right?
Yes, yes.
So if in the revision, you cannot add something up, okay, you can only respond to their request.
Oh,
So if you want to, and then it doesn't make sense to write a separate paper on this. It has to be part of the project. So I would say, try to add one sentence about the misclassified, the colorectal being most common, one sentence, and the rest of the analysis, that the figures that you made because of this new analysis, put them all in supplemental figures.
okay. Yeah.
So I know it's
I think
almost ready,
that-
but I think because we are submitting an abstract, it has to be part of the grand manuscript.
Okay. Yeah, squeezing just one sentence would not that hurt. Would be not
Yeah,
that
I think we
hurtful.
can. Yeah, we'll have to cut out, you know, some words here and there, and we'll squeeze in a sentence or two.
Okay.
And Dr. Che, going back to Dr. Jian's study with the breast cancer cohort. So do you, or should we create a separate MTA for these companies like Delphi and the proteomics companies?
So it's not MTA, but with Q,
Yeah, so it's just the budgeting piece from our end.
yeah, it's going to be just invoicing them for our effort. We're
Okay.
gonna be collaborator under Kyungbuk University IRB
Okay.
for breast projects.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna do it. Yeah.
Okay, understood. Those were the only immediate questions I had for the projects that were previously discussed. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. I'll head out because it's too late here. Yeah, wish you the
Thank
best.
you, Jane.
Thank you.
Sam, did you have any updates on what you've been doing, or?
Yeah, I had just a couple questions if it's okay if I could run over the figure that I was making with you.
Yeah,
I apologize, I'm feeling a little sick, so I'm just gonna keep my camera off.
you'll get well soon.
Thank you. So I just wanted to run it by you since I haven't been able to make a lab meeting, and I just want to make sure that like we're all on the same page about the figure.
Sure.
Advancement paper. So So this is what they showed you last week. And it sounded like, I guess when I first heard the figure, I thought we were kind of looking at like the history of lung transplantation in general, and then like touching on like cases where the indication was some sort of lung cancer. But it sounds like you'd like me to like focus really only on the cases that were performed for lung cancer, and then like do a little like reformatting on it. Is that right?
Right. More focus on cancer transplant because that's so underappreciated.
Yeah.
The history of doing transplant in cancer patients, single, double, CPD, you know, all that, and then that, you know, to get to the human, where was there animal cancer transplant, you know?
Mm,
So it has to be cancer focused, not just transplant in general.
okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. And overall, does the formatting look okay? Because I can
Yeah.
reformat
I
it.
like the format, the year, and yeah, this is fine.
Okay. I guess
But
how many?
maybe you can
Alright.
bold letter the keywords within these
Mm,
sentences.
okay.
Maybe because it's all in sentence, it's kind of long.
Yeah.
You can do, you know, the first double lung transplant by, or in parentheses, or by who or something. You can make it into more like a words than sentences, if possible.
Yeah, for sure.
And bold letter the key findings, keywords or something.
Awesome. And I guess like about how many cases do you think should be involved in this figure? Because I have a lot of them right now, but it's also including,
This is like what, 20 or what was
yeah, maybe like 20.
yeah, 10 would be better. I mean, it's kind of a little bit crowded.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it up to you and Dr. Chiang to decide what is like the pivotal events.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it looks good overall.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, after this, you can continue to work with Dr. Chiang with, you know, for other help that she may need.
Sounds good.
All right, good. Okay, I think we're lunchtime. We're gonna take a break for lunch, and the rest of it, I think we can reconvene here at the lab and discuss. Okay. Talk to you guys later.
All right, see you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Dr. Chen.